All right. And for it's Monday, so I'm a day late, but for all of you guys that celebrate Easter yesterday, happy Easter. Christ is risen. To you, I still have some time to wait, but hey, uh, what else? What else? Oh man, I had an exhausting weekend. A lot of you guys know that it was my birthday, double nickel for me. So I'm extra old now, but I think that means I get like a discount at like Perkins or something. So that's cool. And let's see, we got Timothy. So I'm going to get my Perkins discount, Denny's or whatever.
Hey,
Hey, and we just gamed all weekend. You know, my brother in law and sister in law showed up, other friends showed up, and we just it was board games all weekend. We were playing
that sounds
Agricola
nice.
or Agricola until like 1 in the morning last night. And I got a bunch of really cool gifts. I mean, some people might not think that they're super cool, but I think they're cool. Mostly my wife now, she has this tendency of buying me these. Like she'll just go on War Games Atlantic and whatever looks cool. So apparently I've got a box full of Seder Brutes, 24 of them. I can build them however I want. And that's kind of awesome. And I'll tell you why, Timothy,
Yeah,
because satyrs and the people of Ling, they look the same. In Hyperborea, if you go out into the tundra, you could run into a man of Ling, which is just a satyr. And depending
uh,
on their mood, they'll eat your face off. And
still not the worst
you
thing
got this too, which
creature
I'm
like
like,
that
okay,
can do.
see
Nice.
that?
Werewolves.
Yeah, so 20 of them. And I'm thinking I might swap some parts around between all these kits. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Like throw some different heads on some different bodies. That's one thing I love about War Games Atlantic is depending on which kit you got, um,
Interch-
mostly they all can be
Interchangeable pieces.
interchangeable, so you can kind of just make your own stuff, and
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
for my
So what
Easter,
you been up to?
we went to my grandma's and ate some good dinner.
Yeah,
Ham, deviled eggs, some good
yeah,
stuff.
as they used to call them when I was young, church eggs.
Church eggs.
Yeah, because they always served them at the church.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I was really young, before I'd converted to Judaism or anything, um, and the church just refused to call them deviled because it's Eastern Kentucky, and they just weren't going to call them deviled. And so they were called church eggs because anytime there was any kind of thing at the church, you could damn well guarantee there were going to be deviled eggs there, and which was cool.
I love deviled eggs. They're good.
Well, it was one of the things that we actually could have, even though we were super poor, because we had chickens. So the egg part of this was a guarantee, right?
Yeah.
And then like mustard is not expensive.
No.
Even now you can buy mustard. And now my pops, he hates how we do deviled eggs because he's from Queens. His deviled eggs is made with mayonnaise, but our deviled eggs was made with mustard.
I prefer mustard myself.
Yeah, so he doesn't like the mustard ones. I will eat any deviled egg basically though.
Also, Grandma did
Well,
a little
unless
bit.
there's sweet relish in it. He puts sweet relish in deviled eggs, and I'm like, not having it.
No, my grandma started putting dill in it.
I might be able to handle dill, but you know how there's people who'll put like sweet relish. Some people like to dice up onion and like all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And for me, it's well, the sweet relish I just despise. Sweet relish, sweet pickles, I hate all of that. It's the one kind of food really you couldn't get me to eat is like a bread and butter pickle or a sweet pickle. Not happening. To my taste buds, a bread and butter pickle tastes like you licked an ashtray. It's that horrible for me, right?
Wow.
I only eat kosher dill or actually non-kosher dill. I don't really care if it's kosher or not. We do mayo with mustard. Well, that makes sense, Squirrel Hermit, since you're halfway between us and New York, Ohio. I mean, I know you guys are a solid union state, but you're still kind of on the border. Ohioans do a lot of stuff just like Kentucky people do. It's weird how, generally speaking, people in Kentucky and people in Ohio kind of talk trash about each other nonstop. But culturally, depending on where you are, we're basically the same people. You know, like if you're from Eastern Ohio, you might as well be from West Virginia or Eastern freaking Kentucky, you know.
Well, I mean, they are from the vastly inferior state.
Yeah, they're from a state, whereas we're from an amazing commonwealth.
Yes.
But yeah, we used to have all kinds of jokes. Squirrel Hermit about what's a Buckeye, a useless nut, you know, because yeah, I think it stems from like college basketball. I know
Possibly.
UK ain't doing that great
No.
lately, but there was a time when UK was dominant.
Oh
They
yeah.
were
It wasn't
playoffs
even that.
every year.
It wasn't even too long, far off.
Yeah, it wasn't that
Oh
long
wait,
ago.
unless you're talking about football, I think football's been a while
Actually, I
actually.
think didn't UK beat Alabama this year?
Maybe I don't know. I don't really follow
Everybody
football.
was freaking out because it was like a completely unranked football team beat like the second or first ranked team. But
Again,
that's
I
American
wouldn't
football,
know.
man. You just never know.
Yeah,
Shit can
for
change.
me, for us, it's always we our family's always been the basketball family. You know,
Yeah,
UK's
everyone I
more
know
about
was a
basketball.
basketball person, and in Eastern Kentucky, the reason basketball is so much bigger than football, believe it or not, is most schools don't have access to enough flat ground to make a football field. But
Yeah,
the
that makes sense.
basketball courts are all indoors. So no matter what the weather's like, you
You can
can be
always
all
play
ball head.
basketball. Yeah.
Right, you know. And ours was big and it had like the bleachers that you pulled out, you know,
Yeah.
like they went flat against the wall, but you could pull them out.
Yeah, we
And we
have
would
that
play
too.
basketball, dodgeball, and volleyball.
I mean, ours was not very big, but we had to pull out bleachers like that.
Well, yeah, in the whole county I'm from, we had two schools. You had north and south. That was the two schools, the northern school and the southern school, and they were K through 12, like all on the same complex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the school, like my high school, was 3 stories, color coded. It was like a cross thing, and every hall was color coded. So if they told you your class was in like green two something, say green 217, then you knew you had to go to the second floor, find the green hall, and then find the 17th room. But I don't think it actually went up to 17.
Well, yeah.
But
We
my
just
brother did throw a guy off that staircase one time.
oof.
Yeah. Yeah, he got in a lot of trouble for that one. Uh,
I bet.
they were having a little bit of a tussle, a little disagreement, and it ended up with somebody getting thrown down a staircase.
We didn't have to worry about that. We didn't have staircases. We had a single story building for our high
Yeah,
school.
it's like I said, in the mountains, it's like ground surface area is like premium.
Yeah. So
So when
you
they
had to
build
build
like
upward.
public buildings, they build up
Yeah.
because they can't strip. Like here in Florida, like almost all the schools are 1 story, but they stretch out like these big campuses all over, you know. But where I grew up, it was like that,
Yeah.
you know. But anyway, it was cool. Tell me about some gaming. By the way, before you do, I was on with Shadow this morning, and
Oh,
we were
nice.
deep diving into AD&D and games like that. Sean, who does the Lich and the Wizard, Mage's Musing was on. We had Mike
Nice.
was on. I was the last one to be on, but it was a really good, solid hour or so of just talking about ins and outs of AD&D and similar systems and why we love them and why we don't. And I'll tell you this: I think Mage's Musing may be one of the few people on the planet, maybe Dungeon Delver, who actually understands how AD&D First Edition actually works.
Well, that's nice.
No, the guy's just really, he knows the rules. See, me, since I started with BX, when I switched to AD&D as like a 13-year-old kid, any rule in AD&D that I was like, like unsure of or didn't just like initiative and shit like that, like the whole segment system in AD&D, I was like, what in the actual F is this, right?
You probably just defaulted to BX or something.
So I defaulted to BX. Yeah, just roll dice six. Whoever wins gets to go,
Fair enough.
And so I ran AD&D First Edition for a solid, maybe from 13 to 17, almost 18. So 4 or 5 years. And I never, a single time running it every week, never once did I run it the correct way. Basically. So
the correct way is whatever way you ran it.
Gary Gygax would say that.
Yeah.
That's what he would say. Were you having fun? We're having a blast, man. I mean, for the most part, I did, but like weapon speed and weapon versus armor and stuff, I understand it, but it's like, what do I always say? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? It doesn't add enough to the game to bother with it, and it slows combat down by like ×3.
Yeah, fair.
Because even though I made the little computer they put in like the Dragon magazine, the little computator, so that you could just spin it and get whatever, even that still slows the game down. Because like if you got a mace and you're attacking somebody in plate mail, you've either got penalty or bonus, but if they're in chain mail, you've got a different penalty or bonus. So for every armor type, you're getting these different penalties or bonuses for every weapon type. And like I said, it just isn't worth it. It's like, it's not worth it. I don't want to do that.
Fair enough.
Now, had they just done like a Pierce, Blunt, Crush, and then did that versus, rigid, semi-rigid, soft armor, that's I think a Warhammer thing, that might have been better,
Probably.
But having every single weapon have its own attack modifiers versus different armor and its own weapon speed.
Oh boy. Yeah.
The one good thing is in AD&D, a dagger, in theory, a dagger could attack 2 or 3 times before some polearms could.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, assuming you ran up on the guy, and got in dagger range, just because of how the segments worked and the weapon speed of the dagger. But
see, it has a little bit of a weapons triangle to it.
Yeah, AD&D can be really simulationist if you want it to be. But I have come to the conclusion after having played so many games, like you're playing White Wolf and other games, that I just assume my fantasy role-playing game combat to be abstract. What's your armor class?
There's a lot of abstraction.
You die, knock it out, move on.
I mean, even
because to me, combat's the least important part of the game.
I'd even say that RuneQuest is a bit abstractious in certain ways. It just adds a bit more to it.
Yeah, if you want not abstract, you play Rollmaster, Arms Law. There's nothing abstract about that shit. Oh, they're like, you're standing here and you just took a deep breath and then this and that and the other and beat 100 on a die 100. And for every bit you go over 100, you actually do more damage. But
yeah.
So my Easter was pretty good. It did fall on my birthday, which was weird because
that sometimes happens with some of my family members too.
Yeah, and so I'm getting like happy Easter and happy birthday, and
I think this
But yeah,
time
it was really
my
good. I
bad.
got a new BattleTech book that's all about like running a mercenary company and everything like that. And like I said, I got some boxes of Warlord Games miniatures that I will definitely be making stuff out of, and some BattleTech stuff because
Good
like
thing is,
miniatures.
it didn't snow on Easter again.
Yeah, I think my mom said they got like flurries, but nothing stuck.
Yeah, we didn't get even flurries down here in the flatlands, but you know, sometimes it could happen where you get a pretty big snowstorm in Easter.
Yeah, I remember I was up in Kentucky one time and it snowed like April 20th.
Yep, they can
And
do
everybody
that.
was just like, this is spring. I mean,
That is
right?
spring
Isn't that
sometimes for
spring?
Kentucky.
I was like, Kentucky don't care.
Yeah,
It snowed and
Kentucky
it
don't care.
stuck, but it only snowed about 2 inches. So
Yeah,
the very next day it was gone, but it hit,
yeah.
which I would love it. Like my mom said, oh, we're getting snow flurries. I'd be like, I'd be out on the porch in my t-shirt, just freaking loving it. I'm always too hot down here. I just hate the heat.
I hate the cold. I'm just like, I wish this would end. No,
Yeah. I wonder if I lived in Kentucky for a few years, if I'd be like that. If I'd be like,
I don't know. I'm a little bit odd myself. I mean, I know my family don't mind the snow. Heck, my nephew who loves the snow.
yeah, I think I wouldn't, but you never know. It's
Yeah.
like it's easy to hate what you have to deal with all the time. And all of a sudden, what you don't deal with looks better until you come down here and like you walk out in the front yard for 10 minutes and your ass crack is already swampy as hell and mosquitoes are trying to drag you off. And then
Yeah,
you're like, no, I don't like this. I'd rather be
I probably
somewhere.
don't like that either. My issue is I just don't like the cold mostly, but I probably also hate that kind of heat and having to deal
I
with.
don't think humans were designed to live in this weather. At least not people of predominantly Slav or Germanic ethnicity. We were not designed to live down here. You know,
Eh,
my whole entire bloodline is from cold northern places. I am not designed to live here, and but I got to for a little while yet.
Well, yeah, back to gaming. I mean, the last Saturday we didn't really have a long game. DM had to do some stuff, so
Yeah,
really it was more of an introduction of the new player, and his
nice.
character,
Yeah,
which
I think
his character kind of got wrecked in the first part of the fight.
got wrecked in the. It's like, welcome to the game. Eat a dick.
Yeah, no kidding. He was 1 point away from being knocked out.
The guy who plays the scout in my game, he cannot go through a combat without getting close to negative hit. Like, and I don't even know what it is or how it happens, but it's like every combat, at some point, he'll be like, I've got 2 hit points left. And it's like, I don't even remember hitting you. Like, how
What
did this
happened?
happen? It's like,
Did I
he's
even
playing
hit
a
you?
huge class, so he doesn't have a ton of hit points.
It's like you're just reading along. Did I miss a page?
Yeah, like, was I hallucinating during a whole attack round or something? I mean, but yeah, he's level 4, so his hit die is probably on average like 12 or 14 total hit points. I
I
don't
mean,
know if he
not
has a con.
terrible,
I don't
but
know if
not
he has a
very good
con
either.
bonus or anything.
Who knows? My character doesn't.
Yeah, not terrible until you compare it to the
In
Berserker
my
who has like
one day game, at least.
40 hit points.
Now, one
Does his
thing I
die
did
con and the die 12 hit die or some shit. It's like,
talking about that, man, I'm kind of lucky that Bloodsworth was a little nice to me because because when I rolled up a character for his game, I basically rolled up an average guy
you
with
know,
a really intelligent average guy.
a lot of people talk about 3-6 straight down the line, and I will not say that's bad at all.
No, I
But
don't usually. I
I
probably would have
use
done better somehow.
What's it called? A stat array.
standard array, the
I use
46.
a standard array like in 4th edition.
Oh, no, yeah, standard array, which is just like you just get these numbers and you plug them into
Yeah,
where
you
you
get
want,
like a 16, a 14, a 13, and all the
which is
way down
fair.
to
It makes it a little
whatever.
bit more even for players, and it's not
And
about
that
luck.
way, yeah, if you want to play a fighter, you put the 16 and whatever, and and then yeah, it's just
Like when I rolled for Bloodsworth game, the highest I had was a 15, and everything else was basically a 10 or 11.
see that's a playable character if you put
Not
that
insanely bad.
if you put that high 15 in like your dex or intelligence, you're ready to be a mage.
Yeah, that's what it is. I was going to be an intelligent, like a mage. I'd just be an average guy who's decently smart. That's about it.
So let me ask you, since you're basically a professional player at this point,
Yeah.
because you play in every game, um,
Especially now.
if you were playing a D&D fighter and you had basically all average stats, but one really good stat,
Oh, we lost you, James.
or do you put it in strength?
Could you say that again? You cut out. I think you cut out again. Dang it. Oh, hopefully he.
Else was average.
Up.
And fighter, do you
Okay, strength or con? I'd probably. Oof. I probably would have put it in strength because sometimes with armor you need to have strength to wear it.
yeah.
So I'd probably go with strength just because one, it'll help with your weapon attack, and if armor requires strength to wear, then you'll just have to work with the armor.
Okay.
But again, I
Well,
could see
you
the
answered
point
the
in con.
question and you explained in pretty good detail why you reasoned that out. I mean, there's no wrong answer. It's just me asking, what would you do? I would go with con. And the reason is because unless you're playing with percentile strength above 18, in the games I play, AD&D and Hyperborea, the to hit bonus for strength really isn't that good, really. Like plus one or plus two max. I mean, the damage bonus is nice, which is more than the hit bonus. But as a fighter, I think I want to just be able to take a beating. Like, I want to be able to wear the heaviest armor I can wear, carry a big ass shield, some kind of basic weapon, whether it's an axe or whatever, and just be able to take a freaking beat.
Get that too.
That's kind of what I would like to do. But like I said, it's not like there's a possibility for a wrong answer unless you said wisdom, and then I'd be like, what kind of fighter are you playing, brother?
I'll put it all in intelligence.
Yeah, fighter. I put my highest stat in intelligence and everything else like a 10. Like,
because knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, but not getting killed immediately is the other half. So, you kind of need those hit points, man. And I found that Constitution is kind of more important the larger your hit die is.
I mean, maybe you could make a decent fighter with intelligence, but instead of being an upfront fighter, you'd probably just be a trap master at that point, making traps or something.
Well, if you played a game where that was even a thing.
Yeah.
Because like in the AD&D, that's unless you're using the proficiencies, that's just not a thing.
Yeah, fair.
Which I always use proficiencies though. So,
So see, it would be feasible.
One thing Hyperborea does that I really like is basically any character that has bandages on them can use a bandage like once per day or whatever to heal somebody like 1 to 2 hit points or something.
Oh, kind of like
so
how
all the player characters carry like a number of, like clean cotton bandages in their backpack.
It seems like Dragon Slayer kind of abstracts that a little bit, but they allow you to also just roll like a D3 to heal after a combat.
I like that as far as if you're viewing hit points as a conglomeration of like stamina and health.
Yeah.
Because after combat, you catch your breath, and if any part of the hit points you lost was just stamina, you get it back. you know?
Hmm.
So that actually is a rule that makes sense if you look at it right.
I mean, I could see it as a binding of wounds too. Like, you got like a little
Oh,
nick.
you can imagine it however you want. I'm just saying, in AD&D, hit points was supposed to represent like so much more than just health.
Yeah.
It was your ability to evade. It was like your stamina. Your to just keep fighting longer because the idea was if you have low hit points, might not mean that you're less healthy than another person. It just might mean that you tire out quicker. And
Yeah.
then once you tire out and you start not being able to hold your shield up, somebody's going to split your noggin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a couple of ways to look at it, and I think people who complain about hit points 9 out of 10 times, it's because they just don't like the abstraction, and they don't understand that no losing it. Like if you have a player in your group and they get in a combat and they lose 5 or 10 hit points, that doesn't necessarily mean they took any wounds. In theory, they just got beat up, bruised a little bit. I mean, until they go below half hit points, that's when I start thinking, yeah, that they're starting to get smacked around. And if they go to like down towards 0, then yeah, definitely they've got clobbered. But the first couple hit points lost, that could be just, somebody banging on your shield hard enough to jar your arm and shit. Like I said, it's abstract. It could be a lot of things going on. But we didn't play the game this week because we had guests who um, wanted to play board games. So we played shit
Well,
ton of board games.
like I said,
Mansions and Madness and Agricola.
Agricola.
Yeah, we played that a lot because that's become one of my favorite games.
Like I said, I didn't get to play the Saturday game, but I did listen, and it was fairly entertaining.
Your Saturday game, is that with Bubba?
No, that's my White Wolf one.
Okay. I mean, you playing so many games. I
I know.
honestly sometimes have a hard time
Keeping up because
keeping up. It's like what game are you playing in? I don't.
I got 5 games going on at the same time, and not all of them is in the same. Like it's like a couple of them are like once every other week, and then there's one once every 3 weeks.
Well, you ain't gonna be bored, and that's
Yeah.
a good thing. You will not be bored because you got
Like
like
I mean, there was a point where I was like, I kind of want to join that Villains and Vigilantes. And I'm like, no, I think I got enough games. I don't think I could keep up with
yeah.
that many.
Bloodworth is running it, I think.
Yeah. I was like, superhero game, that
Yeah,
sounds fun. And I'm like, I don't think I could join it.
yeah. Bloodworth was on Double D the other day. They were
Yep.
inflicting all of their fans with more Condor DM stuff.
Yeah, they were.
Like I actually sent them like a super chat, and I was like, "You guys owe me an apology for making me put up with this shit. Listen to it." It's like I could go the whole rest of my life without hearing his voice or anything about him, and I don't even hate him. It's just I'm like I'm over it.
Yeah.
There's nothing for now for them. It might be a good time, but for me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't care enough
And it's
about
why
that.
Double D said that he was going to relegate it to his like Saturdays and keep his other one clear of it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not being critical of Double D. I'm saying what my thoughts are, and my thoughts are I just cannot find a give a damn about any of that drama. It's like now I did join Dungeon Delvers, the online tournament.
I gotta go. I'll see ya.
Catch you later, bro. Good old Timmy. But anyway, yeah. So I did join the. I'm not even going to try to say it. The acronym for it, but it's Dungeon Delver, and they're doing like a virtual tournament. So I'm on that podcast, or not podcast, Discord, and I'm checking that out. Um, I think he does that like every year, pretty much. And if you don't know who Dungeon Delver is, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. Mostly AD&D, but a while back he did a whole run where he was running Gamma World Second Edition, and I was watching the hell out of that because uh, Gamma World Second Edition is my jam. Basically, I of all the Gamma Worlds, 2E was always my favorite. The only thing I ever thought that was wrong with it is that there's actually, as far as I remember, I'd have to dig through my box set and see, but I don't think there's a way to actually advance your character. And I really feel like there should be. I mean, not without like, I'm not talking about adding levels like fourth edition did, but maybe you should be able to gain XP and then like spend XP over time to increase attack bonuses or with weapons or learn weapons or just something, you know. Because to be brutally honest, a lot of players, not all players, but a lot of players, if they do not get XP, then they don't really feel like the game's worthwhile, you know, because that's what they want, you know. The whole reason they play the game is because they want, you know, the number, whether it's XP or whatever. See, Traveler basically just made money into the number. And that's why old school little black box Traveler players were, generally speaking, no matter how the combat or no matter how the campaign was supposed to go, it always ended up with the players being merchants. That was pretty much the whole deal there, is like, yeah, okay. Got me some weather dice. Here's like you roll for normal, and then there's one on here that's like, oh shit, this is really bad. And if you get the oh shit, really bad one, then you roll this one, and this is like what exactly is really bad, like a blizzard or a tornado or something, thunderstorms. So yeah, I probably won't use these if I'm brutally honest, but I do like to buy them. You know, like I have a whole set of the dungeon creation die that I think Chastix or whoever sells, where you roll the dice and it'll tell you like whether it's a room or a hall and then what might be in it and you know all that. So pretty cool. Anywho, I have some things primered up on the desk I'm working on, and I'm getting ready to throw some of this Basilicum Gray contrast paint on this great white shark. Of course, I will have to remember that his bottom has to still be white, but I can go ahead and get him knocked out really quick, and then the next time my players are near an ocean, I'll have something for them. That's why I buy a lot of this stuff. Is like I plan an encounter, and if I don't have miniatures for whatever the encounter is, yeah, Squirrel Hunter, I agree. Are you still working out of town, buddy? But yeah, my miniature buying is when it comes to role playing games is usually based on like an encounter or an area of the world. So very recently, I bought a bunch of like prehistoric or ice age animals because the players may be heading into regions of the world where those things exist. Um, Also, I picked up a bunch of these freaking four-armed Ogrelons. He needs his dry brush and everything, and then the details. But I picked up a pretty good I forget what you call a group of apes, but I picked up a pretty good group of those because, as I'm sure I've said before, guys, Hyperborea is there are so many different ape type monsters running around. There's everything between carnivorous apes and these apes and ape men and man apes. And so, yeah. So, a game that would totally, or a movie that would totally fit in Hyperborea, like 100%, nothing really needing to be changed. Oh, okay. Is the 13th Warrior. Because in the 13th Warrior, everybody in the movie is, Norse or Arabic or whatever. And in Hyperborea, you can play a Berber, an Arab, a Norseman. And the Vendo are basically, the Sovians or Neanderthal. And in Hyperborea, cavemen are a thing, Neanderthals. Uh, so, yeah, that whole movie could be a scenario in Hyperborea and would actually make sense with the setting. Just ignore the horses because Neanderthals would never be riding horses. That's just not even a thing. That comes from the fact that the guy who did the movie was so impressed with the pike scene in Braveheart that he wanted to add it to his movie, and it's stupid. Because the Denisovians or the whatever they were should never have had horses. Because think about it. You're back. Welcome back.
Yeah,
But
I thought it
think
was going to be
about
something
this.
different.
If these assholes lived in a cave, right? And no one could find their cave for the longest time. But when they went in the cave, you didn't see a single horse anywhere. So where were all the horses? That is the big hole of 13th Warrior. Where were the bad guys, the Vendo's horses? Stupid.
In the cave stables.
Yeah, they just, the problem is in the book they just didn't exist at all.
Yeah, they didn't have horses.
Yeah, they didn't have horses. They were cavemen, prehistoric men who had not died out when they were supposed to. But yeah, so I was saying that could very easily be a Hyperborea or a Hyborian, really, adventure. Just leave out the horses and you would be fine, basically, Because, I mean, heaven knows Conan spent a lot of his time killing freaking cavemen. There's quite a few different adventures where Conan's duking it out with some kind of ancient people that should have went extinct but didn't. And, so
Yep.
yeah. And not the Picts. Even though the Picts are savages, they're still human, right? Whereas the Neanderthals are an entirely different thing.
Yeah, but hey, at least the Neanderthal doesn't run at you naked.
Yeah, that's because they generally live in very Arctic climates. So if they ran around naked, they would just die.
True, but still.
Unless they pulled an old Indian trick, right? A lot of American Indians, they would smear bear grease on themselves during the winter, like the rendered fat of a bear, because it would actually keep them warm. Having that layer of thick grease on them,
Okay then.
Pretty good idea, really,
Yeah.
Just oil yourself up. I mean, who knows if you're ever trapped somewhere and you don't have access to clothes and it's really cold, but you can get your hands on a bucket of lard or something, go nuts. It might save your life. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But here we've got our good friend Victor.
Hey, Vic.
I don't even know if his name is Victor. I just assume. Because I've never met anybody named Vic that wasn't a Victor.
Victor Von Scourge.
How you doing, homeboy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very glad that you are. I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Happy
Oh.
Easter.
Yeah, and all that.
Just another weekend. What can you say? you know.
Yeah. Well, it
Relatives
wasn't
come
for me.
over.
It was my 55th birthday. So my
Yeah,
family
you
come
can't-
down and we
let's
played board.
let's go down this. Let's go down this 55th birthday road.
Yeah, the double nickel, baby.
Yeah, and you should be in DaveCon in about, I don't know. You should be here in less than 2 weeks.
I probably really should. I'm not going to argue with you about it because you're not wrong. My personal issues are my personal issues.
Yeah,
And,
well, this is why I got to talk to your wife and have her start beating you.
like, put some extra freaking sedatives in my, and I wake up on the airplane like
Yeah,
for tea or some shit.
yeah.
I pity the fool.
Or she puts you in the car and she secretly packs you a bag, throws it in the back, and then she drives you right to the airport and throws you out of the car right there.
You know, if she held my hand to the actual gate to board the airplane, I might have been able to do it. Maybe. But I mean, I'm not trying to sound super like wimpy or anything, but I don't go anywhere alone.
Me neither.
Ever.
I don't go
told you I
anywhere.
could have hooked you up with some guys that are coming up for DaveCon. You could have been on the same flight as those guys.
Oh no, I have no doubt that it would be one of the funnest parts of my entire life. But the problem is the reason I'm not going is irrational.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I
You are
rationally
irrational.
know that it's irrational. You know, like if I mean, it probably would have been easier for me to tell you, hey man, I'm just broke, I can't go.
Yeah,
But that's not the problem. I could afford to go. It's that I have an irrational fear of going anywhere by myself. I
I don't
don't
want to
have
get
an
on a
irrational
plane.
fear of flying though, because I've flown multiple times in my life, including on a C-130 once. And on those bastards, you're just sitting on a metal rack, you know. So yeah, the
It's even
flying isn't the problem. It's
oh, well, James. I mean, I'd rather be on a C-130 than anything on Spirit Air, ever on Spirit Airlines.
right. I found tickets round trip to the airport, which is right down the street from where the tournament is, and they were pretty damn cheap. I forget which airlines they were. Like Delta
Sun
had a really
Country.
good rate, and then the hotel for like Friday through Monday was pretty good. I would have been able. It was like 600 and change, uh, you know. And then Vic was going to give me a ticket, so that would have been a savings. So, I mean, and the only reason I tell you this, Vic, is so you know, I actually did go online and plot it all through. And me and my wife were talking about it. I had the money, and then when it came time to put out, I was like, I can't. I backed out at last moment. I had everything set up, and then I was like, nope, I will die.
You will die. There's no
Well,
see. It's the
probably
first
not actually
step,
die,
James.
but like I said, I do have. Um, I'm
It's
of
the
two minds. It's like I know when I do irrational things because I have the rational side of my brain that's like, you're being irrational. But the irrational side of my brain is got more power over me because that's where the emotions are. You know what I mean? So
it's that first step, James. It's like walking out of the house to go outside to talk to a new neighbor. You just got to take that first step. And
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it's weird because I literally, dismounted from an M2 into a firefight. And I have advanced hose lines into fully involved houses more times than I can remember, really, at least 15. So there was a time when I was really brave, or if not brave, I just was not afraid of anything. And in the last 15 years, that has changed. Now I'm just like, I don't want to go anywhere. I get upset when I got to go see my doctor, and I got to see him once a month. Every time, once a month. But me and my wife are kind of trying to wean me off of some of the drugs he's giving me.
What am I going to do with you?
I do know.
I'm going to come down to Florida and I'm going to move down there. It looks like in October now. And I'm going to come out. I'm going to come over to your house one day. I'm going to have to. Oh, we lost him, Timmy.
Again. Oh, man. Yeah, he's not having the greatest connection right now.
There I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah, I was telling Timmy, I said, I'm gonna come move down to Florida like in October, and I'm gonna have to come over to your house and put some shackles on you.
Well, you said though you're moving like by the Gulf, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be over probably by Venice because that's my dad is now alone down there, so
Right.
I'm gonna be babysitting him. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be like, all right, I'm coming over for game night, James, or I'll do,
You'll be a couple hours away, but that is like we would have the ability to like meet somewhere or you to come over. I mean, I'd just have to tell my wife and then she'd force me to scrub everything because we can't have guests in the house unless the house is, you know what I mean?
Well, I come over for your game night, whenever that is. How's that?
Saturday between 7 and 11 or midnight, depending on. I have guys at my table who work construction like outdoors all day.
Yeah.
So if I see them start like getting blurry eyed around 11 or so, I cancel the game. Because I myself used to work, manual labor in the sun. So I get it, man. When you've spent 5 days in this Florida heat, I mean, a lot of times on a weekend, no matter how much you love whatever you're doing, you just run out. The sun, it's not even the work. It's just the sun and the humidity just takes it right out of you.
I know.
But, yeah, I used to work in underground utilities, installing water mains and shit like that. Doing trench work and stuff. And I loved it because I worked for the local municipality. And I mean, they treated us good. We got paid pretty good and we got great benefits. And like every Friday, we take a half day and just play like horseshoes out in the yard, stuff like that. So it was actually just like, I miss that job. That was a good job.
A lot of our family usually go into roofing.
Oh, God. Well, in Kentucky, maybe it wouldn't be too bad, but I did roofing for like a solid 6 months down here, and I was over that shit. I was like, yeah, I mean, it pays amazing. They were paying by the square. So if you're fast and a hard worker, you can make a shit ton of money. But you're on a roof in Florida in June. And that sucks.
You can also suck here for different reasons, at least.
Well, I'm sure. But you know what I mean? Like I said, you walk out in the summer, you walk outside, and within 15 minutes, you feel like you got swamp ass. And you just feel moldy. Moist is the word I would use. If you're outdoors more than 10 or 15 minutes, you're just moist everywhere. And that's not a good feeling. It's like,
Hey, it ain't that bad. You guys make it sound like it's a horrible thing, but
well,
it's called dressing. It's called dressing for the weather. I see people out in Florida. It's 40 degrees, and I see them with winter parkas on, walking around, and I'm like, I'm in shorts, sandals, and
those are Floridians, like real hardcore Floridians. Like I never wear anything thicker than like a flannel,
right?
And it has to be like 40 degrees before I break the flannel out.
Right, but I see that, and I just start laughing so hard every time.
The best is these dudes walking around in like beach shorts, socks with flip flops, and then a big freaking thick ass parka. And you're just like, what is this guy doing? But it's Florida, so you don't say anything. You just got to be like, all right, knock yourself out,
Florida,
guys.
Man.
Yeah,
I come down and I only pack like one set of jeans coming down in the wintertime. And the only time I use those things is when I'm flying back.
Oh, you're a shorts guy, huh?
Oh, yeah, I'll wear shorts. As soon as it turns 50 degrees outside here every day, I'll wear shorts every day. And sandals and a t-shirt and maybe a sweatshirt. And that's it.
I never wear shorts. I don't
My
even know
wife
why.
says I got sexy legs.
Yeah. I can believe that because, like, I don't have an excuse for why I never wear shorts. I just never do. Now I know when I'm in Kentucky, I never wear shorts unless I'm going swimming. Otherwise, you will never see me in shorts ever. Just because, I don't want to get ate up when I'm walking through the woods and stuff. And when I'm up there, that's what I'm doing the majority of the time, is wandering around the hills and shit. And you don't want to do that in just a pair of shorts, like board
Well,
shorts.
it's all situational, James. I mean, look down in Florida, if you're going to walk through the woods of the Everglades, yeah, you're going to want something to keep the bugs off. But, I mean,
You're
walking
going to
around,
want something to keep the green anacondas off and the
right.
Nile crocodiles.
Or you're walking around Venice Beach, that's a totally different environment,
You know what the problem, though, is I don't go to the beach.
Well, we could tell that you're a little pasty white, man.
I am very pasty white. I'm pink. Look at that. You see that?
Your wife knows when you're coming in the bedroom because you glow.
She's whiter than I am.
Huh?
She's whiter than I am.
Oh, well.
And if I got any whiter than this, I mean, that looks like the belly of a catfish or something, don't it? Like you can almost see my heart beating through it. It's like, wow. But yeah, it's because I don't. I live 45 minutes from like a dozen beaches, but I will not swim in any water that I can't see every bit of the water. So I'll swim in a pool if I can stand on the pool and look at every corner of it and see everything in it. But nah, I ain't getting into some murky ass water or something. Nah, nope. Like when I was in Kentucky, we would swim in the creeks, but they were only like, knee or thigh deep, and the water was real clear. And plus, there's no alligators or anything up there. So, nothing's going to get you in that kind of little shallow water. But down here, man, I don't know. But swim in the Cumberland River? No, thank you, sir. That damn river's 300 plus feet deep. I'm not getting in there because there could be anything in there, and I'm just not having it. But so I was watching Asmongold. I guess shit's calming down up in your neck of the woods. That's good.
Oh, you mean ice in them?
Just that whole ruckus.
Oh, you know what? When your governor's under federal indictment and your attorney general are under federal indictment, hey, you better shut your fucking pie hole. That's what it is. And they were inciting the bullshit.
Yeah.
They deserve everything that's coming to them. I hope they all go to fucking jail.
Well, you're going to like it down here because down here, generally speaking, at least in the area I live in, which is a suburb of Orlando, people just don't mess with nobody, Everybody just kind of minds your own business. Like, I think they had some riots down here, but they're very polite. They stay on the sidewalk and they yell and stuff, but they don't actually try to attack anyone because Florida cops just 100% tolerate no business like that at all. They will snatch your ass up in a second. And the Florida legal system will not let you out on bail. If a cop drags you in front of the judge and you was doing some shit like throwing frozen bottles at like a cop or an ICE officer or some shit, you are going to prison. 100%. I mean,
like so,
yeah, down here, we've got our idiots down here, but they understand the environment, and the reason those guys up there in those other states, they act the way they do is they know they can.
Yeah.
And they don't act that way down here because they know they can't.
You know what, James? There needs to be a law where if a federal judge allows these people to just go off scot-free, they should be liable for any crimes they do after that.
We talked about that, and I agree. These judges need to be reined in because they are not supposed to be able to just decide who goes and who don't based on.
You know what needs to be done, though, James? And this is where Trump's fucked up and the rest of these ICE agents fucked up. You walk into any business, You walk in there with an ICE agent, and you walk in to do an inspection of their business records, either the IRS or whatever. You start going through their records, and you got a laptop sitting there going, "That's a false social security number. Let's pull that person in for a little talk." You pull them into a talk, and they give shit, and you just go, "Nope." Put them in cuffs, take them away. Next on the list, and you just keep going down the whole fucking list, and you just, nope, here they go. They're walking out. You know,
I mean, you look at the business owner.
Okay, you get the
I'm
one
still
time.
Not ready to hate our current president, but I do wish he was a little bit more hardcore on some of his promises.
Yeah,
I do feel like.
I mean, to be fair, he is
being very president for 100 years at this rate to actually get rid of all the people that have invaded.
He is being
what they could do down here, though, is the government could just make them legal to shoot, and then that shit would work its way out pretty quick. But, yep.
Does seem like he is being very hardcore on the Iran thing, at least.
Well, he needs to be more hardcore.
Yeah.
And people are lying about his Truth Social message saying he said praise Allah. He did not. In the original, he said praise God.
He was saying that as a joke, pretty much. He was making fun of them.
Yeah. But somebody that lives up there that somehow I was Facebook friends posted that. So I called them some names and insinuating that they like men and stuff like that. And then told them, I don't even know who you are, but you can unfriend me. Because, you know.
Well, see, here's the problem. Is whoever's up in that White House advising Trump is a fucking idiot. There's a bunch of fucking idiots up there. And if they would have thought it out for an extra month, just a month, and had a committee to sit there and do it practically, they could have come up with these solutions that would have been like, oh shit. You want to get these truck drivers off the road that have non-domicile CDLs? Send a DOT official into each trucking company and do an audit and send a goddamn fucking ICE officer with them, and then just start.
Well, I know that's real personal and close to your heart because that's your dig right there.
Yeah. Well,
Georgia is randomly pulling truckers over and making them take English tests.
Wait, Vic, wouldn't the place that issued these licenses also have records of these people? Couldn't you do that too?
No.
The problem is the places that issue
Minnesota
these things are not your
sanctuary state, and anybody can get a driver's license. You just walk in.
Yeah, in California.
Walk in.
Walk in and say, "Hi, I'm Federico Montalban," or whatever your name is.
I live at Italy.
It doesn't matter where you're from. They will hand you a goddamn identity card.
Well, then those places should probably be, in trouble for that too.
Well, that's kind of an issue that my governor had a problem with California's governor because when that one guy tried to do a freaking U-turn on the turnpike and wiped out a family of 5, and then they found out not only was the dude not a citizen, but he had a California CDLA, and it's just like, and I had a CDLB, right? With the tanker thing because of driving, in theory, in case I drove the engine, right? And they're not easy to get. So how does somebody, they did an investigation, and what they're doing is these people were wearing like hearing aids, and they had like a guy outside in a car reading them the answers.
Oh, in Florida now, they just passed that. Isn't it on the 17th down there? April 17th? No more. Are any of the tests going to be in anything but English?
Yeah,
it's
because how are you going to give somebody a test in Sanskrit and then set them out on the road behind a 60-ton truck or whatever, and they can't read signs? I mean, that's not smart, right? Not bright, but
now if only we had the right to refuse to acknowledge certain places because of this issue.
And I don't know which other states are doing it, but Georgia, I've seen that. They're just straight up pull a trucker over and then like show them a sign and say, what does this say? What does this say? And if they can't get it, boom, gone.
Oklahoma, Wyoming,
Yeah,
Wyoming. A lot of these immigrant truckers are starting to blow by the scales. And you know what Wyoming's doing? They're teaming with the sheriff's department. And they're just putting like 6 or 7 squad cars on the next overpass. And, Motorola doesn't lie.
In Florida, every time you drive by a waste station, there's like 3 state troopers there.
Right.
Like every time. And then DOT, maybe there'll be a couple of them guys there, but they're usually driving around. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're a truck driver and you blow by a waste station on like 95, your ass is going to get caught immediately. Because down here, again, some people might argue that I live in a police state, but you know what? I like it. They never bother me. They take care of business.
You know what? Obey the law. You won't have any trouble.
That's basically the thing. Don't break the law. You'll be fine. And I live in a state where pretty much everyone's packing heat. And yet we have, compared to a lot of places, a relatively low crime rate. People are nice. You will see that, Vic, when you come down here. Most people in Florida are nice.
I know.
They're pretty friendly. They'll say hi to you. They'll smile.
The rudest place I've ever been to in Florida is Miami. Those people down there can just drop off the face of the fucking earth.
Yeah, I never got flipped off more than when I drove through Miami.
The combination
of East Coast and fingers.
The combination of those East Coast New Yorkers and Bostonites and them living down there, and on top of it, you've got the Cubans and the Haitians and stuff like that. It is a fucking goddamn. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not fun driving through Metro-Dade anywhere. Like, even if you're going to like anywhere down there, Dade County is a mess. If I had to go down there, I'd rather be on the Gulf Coast, like where is it? Coral Gables and Sanibel Island and all that. That's super nice areas. But
yeah, that's where my dad lives. He lives over by Venice, which is, 20, 30 minutes from Sanibel. So,
okay. So you're probably about a 25-minute drive to I-4. Oh, and if you get on I-4, it's an hour to Orlando.
I'd go cross country, but that's just because I hate I-4. I-4 is...
Well, you can go cross country. You can take like Old Melbourne Highway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done both, but where you are going to be then, you're going to be near St. Pete. And St. Pete has an incredibly lively gaming community down there.
Yeah.
They are always running like BattleTech tournaments, Alpha Strike tournaments, freaking D&D this and role-playing that. I mean, there's some really big stores in St. Pete, and they are...
Well, Venice is a lot of Sarasota. So
Sarasota?
Yeah, it's south of Sarasota. But I got my friend James, another guy named James that lives up in Sarasota. He wants to get an in-person game going. So that's going to be sort of my regular over there. But every once in a while, I'm going to scoot over to playing yours and stuff like that, or have you scoot over to playing ours.
Yeah. I think you'll like it. Not the weather, but you'll like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the states in the union, regardless of population, I think Florida has the highest, like, per capita or whatever gamers of any state.
Well, that's because all these guys are retiring.
Well, you got a lot of people who got time, and then you got a lot of other people who just don't want to go outside. And if you don't want to go outside, what do you do? Well, you go to the comic shop, which is air conditioned, and you play Magic or 40K or D&D or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when I used to play MMO, like online games, I could go on any server of like any online game, whether it was Arcade all the way to DOC, and just type in Florida represent, and it would just be a stream of people. There were times where I felt like half of a server would just be Florida. And because people down here got a lot of gamers, man. If I wear my OSC shirt to the grocery store, every time I've ever wore my Old School Essentials to the grocery store, someone at the Publix has been like, "Oh, you play D&D? Me too." You know what I mean? Like random shit like that, you know? And my theory is it's too hot to do much else during half of the year. So you just kind of, because the problem with heat is there's only so much clothes you can take off. And the good thing about cold is you can always dress for it. That's why I didn't mind Alaska at all. And Florida just chaps my ass. So, and then in Kentucky, since the weather's going to change every 10 minutes anyway, don't even worry about trying to dress for it. It's going to do whatever it wants.
Just wait 10 minutes. You'll probably find the weather you like.
Yeah, just wait. I wonder, like, where Squirrel lives, if Ohio's like that. Probably. I don't know. I think Squirrel lives near, like, the Pennsylvania part of Ohio, if I remember.
Okay.
So, kind of up near coal country, because that border there, eastern Pennsylvania, southeast Pennsylvania and all that, and northeast Ohio, they did coal up there too, I think. And the funniest thing on X is all these freaking coders, they're getting laid off because of AI. And people are typing in learn to coal mine.
Learn to coal mine.
Because when the coal miners got laid off and they're all like, learn to code. And now you got people being like, learn to mine.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
They went all for a full circle now.
Yeah, it's funny how life goes, right?
AI is not even close to being perfect, anyways. And
no, they're still working on
I like these guys that
actually the funny part is that these AI companies, they're all floundering because of how expensive it is, and they're not making much money off of it.
Right.
Sorry, you can go on, Vic.
Yeah, you do anything with AI and it's just like it doesn't want to stay inside its fences. You can put a fence up, a verbal fence saying, or a instructional fence and saying, you must stay within these boundaries, and it'll always jump over it. And it's just like, no, you're like a fucking stray dog. I don't want you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's weird is we call it AI, but it's not actually AI. No. It's not like it's just algorithms, but for some reason they're always complaining about the AI having hallucinations and ghosts in the machine and the AI being all, crazy and shit.
It's just the algorithm having a little hiccup because of coding. That's all it is.
Okay, so yeah, he's near. Yeah, so you live in squirrel country. Well, that's true. That's a true statement. Squirrel lives in squirrel country, but coal country. Because Southeast PA is like the Anthracite League. They call it the Skoke because it's just nothing but coal mines down there. But yeah.
So anyways, I've been talking to some people down there in Florida, James.
Yeah,
they want me to put up an old school convention down there somewhere.
Well, see, that would be a thing because that would be something I could just ask my wife to drive me to.
And well, the consensus is we should do it January on Martin Luther King Day weekend.
Well, as long as it's not on my wife's birthday, because we always make a big thing of,
Well, I know, but what is Martin Luther King's birthday? It wouldn't be till 2027.
Oh, I don't even know. I appreciate the day off, but I don't even keep track. I don't celebrate communist stooges, so
that's January 18th.
Depending on how long it goes, because that's awful close to the wife's birthday.
Well, it would be a 3-day convention or 2-day convention. What I would do is I'd fly in somebody like Frank Metzer or David Wesley, or you know what I mean, and
Well, Metzer is the guy I think is the best ever editor of any version of basic D&D.
Well, and you could have met him if you would have came.
But I have talked to him before. So I have talked to Metzer before. So how about that?
Well, I've talked to him too, but I've even went to his house.
But on Facebook, so it don't really count because
I went to his house. But I would have put you in one of his games at DaveCon.
Yeah. Like I think Tim and I were talking about this. I think it was Tim, but it could have been someone else. How BX will always be my favorite basic set, the Mold Bay Cook set. But rationally, I understand that the Metzer set is the better set.
All right.
Because like BX does not teach you how to play. The rules are there, and it's like, well, here you go. But the Metzer set with the Choose Your Own Adventure, with Bargle and Alara and all that shit, if you go through it and you follow along in the book, by the time you're done with that, you know how that game works. So it was just the best introductory set ever. And they've never made one better. You know, and the Rules Compendium is probably pound for pound the best role-playing game ever made, which is just the BX or the Beckley set without the I.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, in theory, since it goes to level 36 and you can get all kinds of weird weapon masteries and adds like 2 or 3 new classes and whatever, that's what Dungeon Master runs, is Metzer. I don't know if he runs it from the compendium though. If you don't, he should, because the compendium adds like the Mystic and a couple other classes and all kinds of cool shit. But
well, did you see Luke Gygax now? Since we're on D&D, did you see Luke Gygax is going to be working with WOTC about the
supposedly they're making up, and that made me respect Luke a lot more. Not that I'd ever want any beef with that big bastard. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I'm bigger than Luke.
Yeah, he's stout. He is a stout dude, though.
Yeah, that's a lot of working out. That's a lot of extra working out right there.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, he kind of does look like his dad quite a bit too. Because when everyone was beefing, I was the Ernie fan. I was the Ernie supporter, you know. I was like, leave Ernie alone.
Yeah.
He said what he said. It's the most vanilla freaking statement ever. It's not even like he's being like radical. He just said what he said. And Luke always was like, Luke, why are you letting people run down your dad like this? See, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to say if it were me, but I do know, yeah, if it were actually me and somebody was running my dad down like that, I'd yoke him up. But Luke chose the more Christ-like way of dealing with it, and good for him, you know. From what I heard, that Wizards Coast apologized to him like multiple times, said they were sorry. But the guy who wrote the history of D&D still talks trash.
Yeah.
But he's just an old soy-faced so-and-so anyway. You know? So I don't even care. If Luke wants to work with them on a new Greyhawk, I mean, hell, I won't buy it, but best of luck to him, you know? I know he used to be a captain in the Army and then in the reserve, but I think he worked in like water purification or something like that. I'm not sure what he did. But I respect that too, you know. He was an officer in the Army. He did do his time in the Gulf, probably when I was there. So, you know, we're about the same age, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean.
I think he's 50 something. Or I think he's 50. I don't even know. I don't know. I can
so he might have actually been in the Iraq War after my Iraq War. I don't know. But he was in the desert, though. I know that.
He's 52.
Yeah, that's within range, I think.
Oh, he's probably out there at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
He enlisted at age 18, so I mean, he's, you know.
Well, he must be pretty smart. Like I said, he did become an officer. And
I just don't know how I want to deal with the Melf's Guide to Greyhawk, and I've made myself pretty clear on this, and I said, Greyhawk shouldn't have any of the 5. If he's going to put this out, I think it should be just the core races and none of this 5e bullshit in it. So
I know when I used to run Greyhawk, it was very much basically just a medieval role playing game.
Yeah.
You know, with the demi-humans you would expect in Tolkien, but it wasn't all super weird or anything. Like my Hyperborea game is weird as shit, but it's supposed to be. But Greyhawk to me was, you know, knights fighting dragons and saving princesses and, you know, evil wizards and Warduke possibly running around killing people, you know, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they remake Greyhawk and it turns into Eberron, well, again, I was never going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
I have the Gazetteer for Greyhawk and the gold box. I
got both. So I mean,
and I've got the hardbound Greyhawk Adventures. Yeah. So exactly what would I ever need a new Greyhawk for? Now what's really crazy is that they're putting out Traveler, but with 5e rules. 5e D&D with Traveler, and it's like they tried that like 20 years ago with Die 20 Traveler, and it flopped big. No one played that game because Traveler, you roll 2 dice 6. That's how Traveler is, and trying to make it fit into like the whole D&D box. I mean, you're talking about 2 entirely different systems and games and everything. And that's where I draw the line. Timmy and I were talking about how I like abstract combat for fantasy games. I do. I don't like abstract combat for modern games. When I play Twilight 2000, I play tactical. I want to know where people effing are and what position they're in, and if they're behind anything, had they ate that day. You got to know all that shit. Because you're talking about a game where people with AKs are swapping shots across, you know, woods or whatever, right? And everything matters in that situation. It's not abstract, you know. Like if you're standing in the open, you're dead, basically. You're dead. If your character's just standing in an open field, anybody on the planet with 100 yards is going to kill you, and you're going to be dead. So, yeah, there's no abstraction. And that's how I like modern games to be. So I don't like level-based modern games. Not even Stars Without Number. I ran it. I liked it okay. But at the end of the day, it's like, nah, I don't like D&D in space. So I will probably always default to Traveler for sci-fi games.
Shit.
I honestly wish Free League would just do a setting book for Coriolis that had no rules in it. So that you could just play Coriolis with Traveler rules, which you could, but I wish they just put a book out.
Well, I saw they said they had something on. I haven't seen ads for Traveler with 5e rules.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you, and it's insane. It's like, why would you do that?
I don't know. I
it's not going to work.
I've tried to convince these kids that, hey, come on, let's play first edition. And they're like, oh no, it's too deadly, blah blah blah. And I was like, you know how many players I killed last time? None. You know, it's like I don't kill them every time. You know, it's just like
my players were the exact opposite, bro. They came from a 5e game, 2 of them or 3 of them. Yeah. They'd never played any other version of the game. And we were playing AD&D, and like the second session, we're all sitting there, and one of the characters gets hit by yellow mold and dies.
Right.
And all of the 5e players are like, what just happened? And I was like, he failed his save because he's an idiot. I didn't say that part, but that's why. And the mold exploded, and he inhaled it, and it filled his lungs completely up, and he died.
Right.
And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you can just die like that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay. And now they've been with me for like 3 years now. Because when they realize, hey, if anything, the players at my table, some of them are too timid, which leads to my brother who plays the cleric constantly bitching at them, because they're like, should we open the door? I don't know. There could be something bad behind the door. And then Hunger will run up and be like, I'm opening the effing door. You guys need to go start a cabbage farm or something. You don't want to venture anywhere. And then they'll go in, but.
Well, yeah, but see, what I'll do is I say, okay, I investigate the door best I can. I'll pop the door open, then I'll just stand in the doorway and I'll look around in the room. I don't just rush into anywhere. Right. Like, no. I mean, I've had it where I've looked at the room and I go, I'm not going in there. And the other players are like, you're always the bravest, Vic. Why aren't you taking your character in there? I don't like the feeling of this room.
I think
and inevitably, whenever I don't like that feeling, James, I'm usually right.
I mean, they do say there's something to be said for intuition.
Yeah.
I think I might have possibly warned my players to be careful because the game we're playing is pretty deadly and they will die if they F up.
Yeah.
And they took me serious. Yeah. So they're like, and as a matter of fact, the last game we played, technically one of the characters should have died, except they had an antidote potion on them.
Oh, yeah.
But they hit a poison needle and failed their save, and sure shit, she was dying. And she's like, wait, no, I've got an antidote potion. Yeah. And I was like, well, there we go then. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and we got a druid that's got neutralized poison and stuff like that. Hey, here's Bruce.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah, neutralized poison is a spell that is kind of higher level, and I don't think anybody in the party's got it. But she got the antidote potion because they got into a fight with 4 serpent men, like the Conan serpent men, who are all casters. And like the serpent men won initiative because of their bad rolling. And the first serpent man cast a hold person spell, and sure as shit, they all fell. So half of the group was held. And hold person and Hyperborea lasts for an hour.
Well, I'm working on my grimoire, and I'm putting time on these poisons that inside there. I've made the grimoire with all the poisons in there, and I started putting times on those so that a dungeon master, when he opens it up, he goes, "Oh, this is an immediate effect poison. It's as soon as it gets in his blood, it starts burning and blah 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 blah, and within 5 minutes he's dead if you don't get the antidote or whatever." You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Again, because it's what I'm playing recently for like the last however many months, they do that in the bestiary, like spiders that have deadly poison. You don't instantly die.
You don't instantly die from any poison unless it's like a chlorine gas. You know what I mean?
Right. There are some potions that'll kill you within a couple rounds because they're just that deadly. But most like venoms and stuff, it takes a little while, but it'll eat you up. So if you get hit by a rattlesnake, you'll probably live like 6 hours before you actually die. But you will also be in extreme pain the whole time. Mm-hmm. So if you got a group though, they can grab your ass up and maybe.
And I've described it too. A poison will burn your inside of your lungs. You're going to have like asthma and this and that unless you get, healed. And they're like, what do you mean?
Well, yeah, chlorine gas. You get a good dose of chlorine gas, you're just going to fall over and die.
Right.
Because it just destroys your entire respiratory system. You're just done. Another poison that's like that is fluoride.
Right.
And anything like a measurable dose, fluoride will kill you so quick.
Right.
It is such a horrible industrial byproduct that it literally bleaches the freaking calcium out of your bones and causes your heart to shut down.
Right. And what I'm saying though, James, is that different poisons have different timelines, and
I'm agreeing with you.
a lot of these dungeon masters just like, oh, it says you die. And it's like, you don't die instantly. Let's put some realism in this. You know what I mean?
First edition AD&D had a whole list of all the types of poison. Because remember how it was like type 1, type 2, type 3, whatever.
Yeah, type 2
and
to type XXX or whatever.
The effect, how long it took. Like some poisons would do bad shit even if you did save. So you might have a poison that on a failed save you died, but on a safe save you still got jacked up. And and for some reason later games seem to like have stopped doing that, or maybe like you said, just DMs are like, oh, it says save versus death, you're dead. But yeah, I never did that. That's not my gig. I always give them a chance to, the only time I make someone die very fast, it's never from a venom. It's from like an assassin's poison put into food or a drink. You know what I mean? Because some of those poisons really will kill you. Like,
James, you're making me wish I had purified food and drink.
I had a character fall down a shaft, 100-foot shaft. I'm like, here's a dice roll. Here's a dice roll. What do you mean? Can I roll for dexterity check? You already failed it. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, it's a 12 by 12 platform. You're standing dead in the center of it. You push the button and it fell away out from underneath you. You're dead.
And that is why one of the most popular magic items in all of my games is a Ring of Featherfall.
Right. Well, like, he didn't have it.
Anytime anyone finds a Ring of Featherfall, my players fight over that thing because they all know. But the good thing is, 2 of the characters, maybe 3, I'd have to reread them, in my group have the ability. It wouldn't work with you. Your thing would have just happened. But if they fall and they're within like arm's reach of a surface, they can literally like make it where they take no damage if it's under a certain amount or a lot less damage. You know what I mean?
Well,
because they can like grab the wall to try and slow themselves down. It's a possibility that thieves.
You're not going to do this in a 10-foot by 10-foot space. You know what I mean? It's just
you might if you're up against the wall. If you're in the very center and can't reach the wall, then you're effed.
Yeah. And another thing is there was bones in the bottom of the pit. So I mean,
shattered, nasty bones all going through your body.
Right.
After 100-foot drop, yeah, you're going to be dead. That's pretty much death for sure.
I'm glad I have a capable.
And if you do survive, your party's got to now put two or 3 links of rope together, haul your ass up, and hopefully they don't drop you.
Because depending on the game, ropes come in 30 or 50-foot links.
Right.
So
yeah.
I am kind of fucked right now.
Uh-oh.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm waiting for a property lawyer to get in touch with me.
About the truck?
No. About my former apartment where I had my life. When my life was great before my wife at the time fucked up everything.
I remember the whole story, yes.
Okay, so she's squatting over there, and they haven't gotten rid of her. And they're claiming we have nowhere to put her. And I said, that's not your fault. She needs to figure it out. Lease has been up since January 31st. And they're like, well, no, she's still here. I said, well, then charge her. Well, no, you need to pay that. I said, I'm not paying 3 months rent.
You got a divorce decree, man. Walk in with a divorce decree and say, yeah, take me to court over it. And we'll see how far this goes.
Yeah, I had the cops there 3 separate times to escort me in my apartment because I didn't know what I was walking into after 12 hours of work, because when I left the day before or the night before to go to work, she was abusive. And if I respond in kind, I get bracelets. I don't want bracelets. I like my job. I like my money. So
you like your real miniatures.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, well, you need to pay this. I said, you need to reassess your level of competency with where you're at. because you're acting fully vaccinated.
So you pretty much dropped the cry more noob on him.
Say again?
You pretty much dropped the cry more noob on him.
Yeah.
Well, no, dude, if you have a court order, carry that court order, like the divorce decree, and right into that office in there and show them the relevant section and say, now I want you to copy this, or you already have it copied for their records, and say, here it is. If I hear one more time from you folks about anything with your ex-wife, you say, I am going to engage a lawyer for harassment.
No, are they legally divorced?
I filed for divorce online the 22nd of November.
Right, and you were saying she was refusing to.
She was refusing to respect it, and she was wanting to fight it. But then she told me on December 14th that she wanted to just go ahead and sign it because she was going to get her disability no matter what. And I found out disability means that if you have a disabled wife and you divorce her in Texas, you get to pay income, which, no, I'm not paying your income. You had 5 jobs in 4 years. You lost all 5 of them, but for 4 years you were employed. Now you're choosing just to be a doper. And then I could always bring up the fact that we took her to the hospital because she couldn't feel her leg. And by 5 a.m. the next day, she walked out of the hospital shoeless, didn't know where her shoes were, couldn't tell me anything about her shoes, but she was angry that she didn't carry her keys with her to the hospital. It said, because when we took you to the hospital, I was under the auspice that they were going to keep you at least 24 hours and help you out. What do you mean, help me out? I said, you obviously need a lot of help, but you're so fucked up, you don't recognize that. And worse yet, you're feeling that I'm putting upon you a status which you don't feel you deserve, but yet you do so badly. You need help. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll sign your divorce. That's fine. She said that on the 14th of December as I was filling everything out.
Yeah.
But last time I saw her, last time I saw her, she was trying to punch me in the kidneys, and she's done that 3 times to me.
Damn.
And I just leave when that starts happening because she can't punch. She's not shoeless. She's not a
man,
a boxer. She's not a man. You know, she's pretty inept. She's 130 pounds now. She used to be 240 2 years ago. Yeah, she dropped a lot of weight. The meth has helped her out in dropping weight, but she looks like shit. She's a wrinkle factory because she lost it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So,
like those people who take that Ozempic. They look like Sharpays and shit when they're done.
Yeah. That's a terrible drug. Ozempic's terrible.
Yeah.
But she's got her head so fucked up. And this apartment complex forced me to they didn't force me. They got upset because I turned off the utilities after I left in December of last year. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? I'm not going to fucking pay for something I'm not using. Well, there's still a resident there. I said, well, let her turn it on. We'll turn it on for her. You can do that, but I want you to understand that I'm not paying for her. That's it. It's over. The divorce proceedings have started, and I'm not coughing up any more money for this. So I get a eviction notice on Friday, and it has a cost of $1,863 that I owe, or $1,836 that I owe. So I go to the county. I'm like, where do I pay this? They're like, oh, you don't pay this, you pay the plaintiff.
Okay, so you're so what you're saying is you're not 100% divorced yet.
Not yet. I had to.
You're fucked. Make sure you in that divorce decree, man. You make sure spell it out so she doesn't get a fucking dime the moment she signs those papers.
They filed it with the county on the 31st of March. I started everything in December, and because of them fucking up so poorly, today I paid $1,000 to a lawyer in San Antonio. Just get it done. We'll go for a default divorce first. We'll try using the email, process servers, people to contact her. And if she doesn't answer the door, doesn't open her email, then the divorce gets filed. Costs you $2,070.
Damn.
If she,
right now, I know Reaper, Texas is pissed off.
I know. Denton, Texas is angry because they're losing tax money.
Well, I said Reaper is pissed because they're losing sales.
Yeah. So I've got this going on, and then the eviction notice came in, and the court says I have to pay this money. Well, I'm trying to get a hold of a fucking eviction lawyer, tenant lawyer, be like, here's what's going on. Here's the dates. Here's when everything was going on. Here's how things have proceeded. I'm using another lawyer for my divorce. I need you to stand up for me in court against these people because I'm not paying them a dime.
Did you give a 30-day lease termination notice for that?
I did, and I gave it to them verbally because they wouldn't let me sign for it in December. My lease is supposed to have been terminated the 31st of January due to her wanting to be a squatter because she has nowhere to go, and that's not my fault. This is up to her.
Okay, well then from the 31st on, you should be clear. The January 31st on, you should be clear.
Exactly.
Well, if the court sent you an order though, and it really comes down to it, I would just do what the court says because, you don't want to get hammered by the big, ding dong of the law.
I'm thinking that
they don't really give a shit about whatever is actually just or not. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, bro.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about just paying that court of $1,836, but I'm going to talk to a lawyer first that handles this.
I mean, I know this because I actually got custody through the courts of my younger daughter when she was like 13, but I still had to pay child support. And I paid child support until she was 18, even though I had 100% full custody and she was with me every day of the week of the year. And I was still having to pay child support. But at that time, I just swallowed it. And I was just like, fine. What's up, Dean? How you doing, bro? But I was like, I'll pay. Just didn't be done. I'll give you your 100 and whatever bucks a month, bitch. Just to be done with it, and to save my daughter. That was the most important thing. But yeah, I mean, that is damn, Bruce, come in here and just freaking.
What happened to Bear? Where's Bear been lately?
I don't know. You asked him.
Oh,
doing
God.
His own thing.
There's a dust up somewhere on Twitter with Bear.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know he went on Twitter. I thought he knew better.
Yeah.
There's somebody got in his ass because Bear's trying to do a sci-fi game, and Bear was wanting to talk about things, and somebody brought up, like, we need to have some irreverency in this. It needs to be fun. It needs to be fun for everybody, not just you. And the guy got upset. Bear got upset at him. And the guy's like, listen, you are the perfect Klingon because every time somebody else tells you about how great it is to live somewhere not where you're at, and they can own guns and shoot shit and make combustion things happen, like big boom, or drive a car, do manly shit. And Bear just got upset, and he's like, listen, I know what you need for your game. You need big penis-shaped Klingon ships for your game. And he made a fucking AI Klingon on Twitter and said, Bear, this is you. And the Klingon guy was just yelling. And I only know this because I checked it yesterday with Janet, because after our show, we were cruising Twitter together. And she's like, Bruce, do you see this? I'm like, no. She's like, check this out. So I just watched her screen. And this guy and Bear were going at it. And at the very end, Bear blocked him.
Well, it wasn't me because I haven't been on Twitter in like a year. And if it were me, you would know because my old Twitter handle, I think, was Nick Cage Superfan.
Oh, God. Nick Cage.
I do love Nick Cage. And I don't care if you guys disagree. You can kiss my ass. Nick Cage is great. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Bear's doing Bear stuff, I guess,
I hope he's writing. That's what I hope he's doing.
Writing?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to Bear in Tim, how long has it been?
A while. I
Been a
do
while.
not know exactly.
Yeah, it's been a coon's age.
No, I talked to him pretty recently, actually, on Bloodsworth's stream. Not very long, though. He was on
so,
there
you
for a
know,
while.
and I saw him on Legion of Myth like a month ago, I guess.
Is he upset with you?
So yeah, I mean, but I mean, there you go. Look at that hair, boy.
Look at that fucking hair, kid. Not a gray in it. That guy's just smiling, living the dream. He's vibing.
Going to prison. That was a good movie, actually, Con Air.
I love that movie.
And he was also in The Rock, which was amazing. Mandy was just shitloads of fun.
I love Mandy. Mandy is great fucking joy.
When Willy's Wonderland or whatever it was called, that shit was hilarious.
Don't say that too loud around Janet. That's all I got to ask.
She don't like that?
That movie gives her fucking rickets, I tell you. She starts talking about that movie, and by the end of her conversation, 2 minutes later, she's like, I ended up leaving the theater. I never leave the theater, Bruce. I got to have more popcorn. And I'm like, what? I left the theater prematurely, Bruce. You know what that's like, Bruce? I've never leave the theater early. That's the first movie I've ever not stayed for the full film.
Did she just not like it?
No, she hated every fucking moment of it. He wore these glasses. He didn't speak. All he did
That
was
is true. He doesn't speak hardly at all in the whole movie.
Oh, dude, the Red Letter Media guys just ate that up, and they're like, man, Nick Cage is in top form if you want schlocky Nick Cage. Because he's like, well, I don't want to have any words in my dialogue. Just let me grunt occasionally. I'm going to wear glasses and drive a fast car. It's got to be
the fact that he didn't have any lines in the movie made me like the movie more. Because, I mean, that's a ballsy move to make a movie and just never speak. And he was absolutely the star of the movie, and he just never said shit for like the whole movie.
Said a fucking thing throughout the whole film.
He just beat the shit out of demon-possessed animatronics.
When Janet talks about that movie, she's like reliving like Da Nang or something.
Yeah, right. Flashbacks from fucking Oshawa Valley or some shit.
She's watching that movie and she's just like flipping the fuck out. And I love Janet to bits. You all know that. And she's just not handling it.
We all like Janet. Come on.
Yeah,
Everybody
I get it.
Likes Janet. What's not to like? Yeah, he likes conflict until he hits his threshold. Andre said that he didn't understand why I even let Bear on my channel because I guess he inferred that I was a Nazi multiple times. But I didn't notice because I didn't notice.
I didn't notice that either.
The day he got mad at me, it was because I called Eskimos Eskimos. Yeah. And he was trying to tell me that's a slur. And I was like, I lived in Alaska. And no, it's not. Because at least in Alaska, they call themselves Eskimos unless you get to know them. And then they'll tell you what their tribe actually is. And Eskimo is not an English word. It's their word for each other, which it just means eaters of raw flesh. And I'll tell you what, you can go on YouTube right now, watch a family of them eat a seal dead ass raw right on the middle of the floor. Because they do that. And it's like, cool. And my brother dated one for like a year. She didn't smell good though. Because
I'm gonna have to get out here. It's almost time for my game. I'll see you.
See you, bud.
Bye, Timmy. Have a good day, bud.
Yeah, I don't think they bathe as much as you would like, you know. But she's pretty though. She's a pretty little thing. At least the face of her was. You couldn't see anything else because she was, you know, wearing freaking silhouette parka shit. But that was a part of it, you know. He corrected me a couple of times saying that stuff I was saying was like slurs or something. I was like, I don't think it is, but plus Mobius and him were fighting, so he was stressed out. That was a thing, yeah. because Mobius would come on the channel and like, I don't know what him and Bear were doing, but man, I never seen two Canadians being so angry with each other, and they were like truly angry.
When Bear gets into it, it's never with an American. He might get snippy with an American, but he will fucking argue for superior Canadian every day.
I definitely noticed that, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to bad talk him. I think that his thing with me saying Eskimo, when he brought that up, I think that's just part of the education system in Canada, you know, how they're always like calling out, we do this on native land and all that shit, you know, calling all their, you know, Indians up there like First Nations or whatever shit they call them. They're not even the First Nations. They wiped out people who were here before they got here. So it's all a bunch of freaking bullshit. And the problem with most Canadians is even the Canadians who claim to be right-leaning are still left of any American. You know, it's like the British. The far right in Britain would be our left.
I will argue Canadians are more, how should we say, liberal than Europeans, the right wing.
They are getting weird. I saw that meeting they had where they were all just bitching about point of order and
the NDP.
Oh,
the National Democratic Party
the
for
National
Canada?
Democratic Party. They were just going on and on about
led by Madam Hitler.
Yeah, she did have the Adolf Hitler haircut. That is wild. And blonde. So very Aryan.
And then she was like, "Don't talk to me like a madam. I'm not binary. My pronouns are."
Yeah, she had to speak the French to let people know she was a they them.
Yeah.
What they should have called her is aircraft detection radar, because those ears.
My God. She could fucking find a fucking singer at a fucking Sunni marketplace. I'm telling you.
Well, I would say she'd be okay in a cave system. She could probably find her way around just by clicking and you know, going off of the radar or the echolocation. But you know, I watched that and I laughed. And then I felt embarrassed for a lot of the Canadian people that I actually talked to. Because I'm like, man, that is embarrassing. What in the hell is going on up there, right? They even had like colored paper you could have. So depending on where you were in the oppression stack,
the oppression Olympics,
speak before other people got to speak. It was like women, everyone got to speak before straight white men. But then they had like this whole ranking system. So like if you were, I guess, a trans gay black midget, you would be like the ultimate.
If you were a quadriplegic gay black trans midget, you would have the fucking platinum medal.
Right. So it was just weird. I know we did it down here once too. I remember it from a while back when the communists met in like Colorado.
Point of order.
Point of order. Don't use gendered language and all that shit. It's just like, it's like, I wonder if they ever look at the videos of themselves and actually ask themselves, like, do they believe their revolution is ever going to work? Because I'll tell you what, the real commies you got to look out for, the tankies, they are hardcore conservative, but they're Stalinists. So they hate everything that the people calling themselves left wing are. Your hardcore Stalinist tankies, they don't like the LGBT people. They don't like capitalists. They don't like the bourgeoisie liberal, you know? And every now and then when they have a big riot or something, you'll see those guys out there with a red flag. And a lot of times they have signs that say liberals get the bullet too. Because, I mean, they're Stalinists. And, you know,
they're just quoting history.
So, yeah. Yeah, all these
James,
weirdos. What's that?
You asked it if they see themselves being able to carry out the revolution. That was part of why they changed strategy into the, I should say, the minority and so forth, because the working class, quote unquote, betrayed the revolution just for some small concessions, according to what do you call it, communist fingers.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And Bruce, I'm sorry to hear about that, and I hope it all works out. And so, Vic, now you've heard a little bit about what was going on with Bear.
Yeah, Jesus.
I talked to him one time, and he said we were super cool. He just needed to take a break. And
That's
the
cool.
only thing I can imagine I did that pissed him off is when he tried to correct me on using the word Eskimo. I said no. It's what they're called in the book. I'm going to call them that. You know. So I honestly thought he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at Mobius, because him and Mobius, man, they were going at it. Like on every server. It's like anywhere Mobius was that Bear was, they were fighting.
I did notice that, yeah. And
Yeah,
I don't.
Whereas
go
Mobius
many
will show up
streams.
on my show sometimes, and him and I are like super cool, and always have been. But
Moby's been popping in my movie chats, and I don't have a problem with him.
yeah, he's not a bad guy. He's been on my show watching me since I had a show. Him and like Bastel, I forget. I mean, I remember the guys that were with me when I had like 5 subscribers, and Mobius is like one of them, you know. But God, him and Bear, and I sat here one night. I don't know if Dean was here, but I sat here one night for like an
I
hour
was there, yeah.
trying to talk them into just being cool, and it was like, fuck me. They wasn't having it, you know. And I'm like, just be cool, man. Just be cool.
Yeah, that is kind of why I said like my statement that. So my impression of Bear is he kind of likes arguing and butting heads, but he seems to have like a threshold where it gets too much of him and he just, I'm out.
Well, for a while there, he did say to me that he felt like every time he joined me on the show, I was just trolling him. And I don't think I was, but maybe I was. I mean, you know, it's his opinion.
I have noticed that not so much that you troll, but you do, how should we say, throw a small tease jab or two.
Well, me and my male friends in real life,
yeah,
we just talk no end of shit. You
yeah.
know, when we're hanging out, drinking and stuff. Chardonzar, I was here that day, and Bear commented that more it could have this channel, and he wouldn't be. See, I don't remember that. But yeah, him and Mobius do not like each other. I know that. Morbius, they don't. But I don't think he likes Rick. Yeah, he don't like Rick. Well, because here's the thing, Chardonzar. If 2 people who aren't me are fighting, I'm not going to block or ban anyone. I've only blocked one person ever, and it's Condor on an old account because he's running his mouth. And that's like 10 years ago. So, I mean, you know, and that's why I tried.
He's been a problem for 10 years.
Held down, but they were so determined to fight with each other that even me sitting here being like, bros, you know, this shit don't really matter, right? And no. And I don't even remember what they're arguing about.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Is to show
I mean,
let's
shit that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, let's just say that Bear got trapped in a Mobius strip. Haha.
Ha! A Mobius. Look at you. But nah, Bear was a good guy. We had a lot of fun hanging out. If he said Mobius can have this channel, then there you go. That could be it. I never had a problem with him. I knew he was sensitive about being Canadian, so sometimes I'd F with him about it a little bit. But I never called him like a snow Mexican or anything. I'd just be like, you know, he'd say he's going to the store to buy something. Like, how many coins is that going to cost?
Why is snow Mexican so fucking offensive? If you called me a snow Mexican and I lived above I-70, I'd take fucking great pride in that because I find myself to bust a lot of ass.
Do you know what? I'll just call you straight up Mexican because you live in Texas.
I'm okay with that.
So I mean, you're just practically a Mexican anyway.
I am. I mean, I eat more tacos than pizza, and that's a fucking point of shame right there. But I love me some good tacos.
Speaking of, look at this shit. 50% of the panel's Italian. What's going on here? We got whatever Vince's last name is, and we got freaking a Lombardo. I mean,
what? I'm Italian.
I know.
Yeah.
And so is Bruce. Whereas Dean is Danish, and I am mostly German.
So you could say we're pretty much
There's unreleased Kickstarter. See, I never even looked into it, Shardzar, and thank you for clearing it up. I never looked into it because personally, I mean, not to be a dick, but unless something affects me, like personally in real life, I don't care. You know, I mean, I got like other more important shit to worry about, like being forced to leave the house or something. So I don't want to argue about gaming. I love gaming. It's what I do for fun. So the last thing I want to do is get on here and argue about anything about gaming, except with Shadow, because I got to keep him, you know.
Keep him sharp.
Shadow's my bro, so I got to keep that dude on the straight and narrow because sometimes he kind of leans out, like his whole mages and AD&D suck, and it's like, not if you get on the 5th level. All of a sudden, they own the world, man.
Yeah, mages are definitely not front-loaded.
They are the investment character.
Now, I will say this. Mage's Musing, he said in AD&D, I never seen this rule, but it's something he does, and I love it. If there's a lot of different people engaged in one combat, let's say you're playing a fighter and there's 3 people that are adjacent to you that you could attack, right? Before you roll your attack roll, you have to randomize which one you're attacking. Because there's like a line in AD&D that says anytime there's multiple guys on you, your character, because it's abstract, is waiting for an opening to actually stab somebody, right? But you never know which one it's going to be.
I got to be a minute here, gentlemen.
Okay. And in that regard, it means if you have a mage with a couple of hirelings standing around him, then if a monster runs up, he's only got like a 1 or 2 out of 6 chance of actually attacking the mage because of, you know, waiting for the opening.
Yeah.
Of course, if he's got a bunch of bodyguards, he just can stand behind them and then F you. You know what I mean? And cast his spells over them. But I mean, yeah, Mage's Musing come up. He was talking about that, and I was like, that's kind of a cool rule, though.
I mean, is the game.
I don't like that rule at all myself. That's just me, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, every rule isn't for everyone. When I ran AD&D, I never used segments. I used BX initiative, and I never used their unarmed combat system. I mean, I didn't use weapon versus armor modifiers. So, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like I was saying, though, is Sean, or Mage's Musing, he's like super knowledgeable about all of the little nuances of AD&D. And even though I ran AD&D for a decade, he knows like way more because I'm lazy. And rather than try to figure out weapon versus armor modifiers, I was just F that shit. I played AD&D, but I always defaulted to BX.
And that is apparently how a lot of people played it.
Yeah, if there's a rule that I didn't quite understand good, I'd just be like, well, how'd they do it in Mold Bay Cook? And I'd just do it that way. So I never, not one game in my entire life, have I ever ran AD&D by the book. Never.
Yeah. And James, concerning the Snow Mexican thing.
Yeah.
So this is not a thing about Bear, it's just what I experienced that it's mostly left-leaning people that don't like it. Other people I said it to, it's like, oh, ha ha ha.
I never even knew that was an insult to Canadians because I don't understand why that would even be a thing. Why would you call Canadian a Snow Mexican? What does that even mean?
Yeah, I mean, the way I've been explained it for someone who realized I wasn't trolling, also because they don't sound American, is what do you call it? That Americans has all these negative feelings about Mexicans.
That is simply not true.
And that's correct, yeah.
I don't know any Americans that have negative feelings about Mexicans. I have Mexicans that work for me. I've got Mexicans that live next to me. Well, they're not Mexicans though. They're Americans, but they come from Mexico. And I'm sure Bruce, half of the people he hangs out around are probably from Mexico originally 100 years ago. I mean, the whole Southwest of the United States is full of guys that were Mexican back when Spain owned Mexico.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, I guess, Dean, you could say that a lot of Americans are not fond of the illegals.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A lot of which are Mexicans. But like legal people of Mexican extraction that are American, no one gives a shit about that. My daughter married a Ramirez.
What?
No one gives shit. You know what I'm saying?
What's
no
a
one
Ramirez?
gives a shit. So
And
yes,
said his daughter married a Ramirez, I believe.
that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my daughter's name is Ramirez. Yeah, but still, I mean, whether you're Mexican or not, Coco, it's like, who come up with Snow Mexican, and how is that supposed to be an insult?
Yeah, I always heard it like being used ironically.
Because, like, if somebody called me a hillbilly Mexican, I'd be like, what does that even mean? And if you call me a hillbilly, I'll just be proud because, you know, I am a hillbilly and I know it. I'm from Appalachia, and Appalachia is the greatest part of the whole of North America and South America. And that's where all the real Americans come from, and everyone else is just, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But an alligator Canadian, I would laugh my ass off because that is so meaningless to me. It's like, you're just an alligator Canadian. I'd be like, what in the hell does that even mean? So... But like I said earlier, Dean, I was pretty shocked because I have, well, you can see we've got Canadians in the chat, and I've never had a problem with a Canadian at all, but some of them seem to hate each other pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't matter if they're Canadian or Jamaican or Russian or Nipponese, Japanese. It doesn't matter, because some people just are so concerned about trying to always be viewed as the cool guy. And I feel that's a lot of people's problems on the internet. They want to be portrayed as someone that I've never fucked up before. I've never tripped while carrying water.
Well, if you're on a stream talking about me, I got news. Sorry.
I'm just saying that some people are very sensitive about shit, and don't go down that path with them unless you're ready for that warfare from these.
Like I said, the day that whatever, I don't think it was really me, and I do know that there was a war going on between Bear and Mobius, and it had been going on like every channel that Bear was on. But I personally am not going to ban people for anything unless they're doing something really horrible, like, you know, using like blatant slurs and shit. Like, I mean, if you come on here and start dropping the N-bomb like nonstop, I'm going to be like, don't do that. And if I have to, you're gone. And that's not because I don't want you to have freedom of speech. It's because I don't want YouTube.
We are still on YouTube, yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, but I like I said, I would just as soon never ban anyone. So, and also Mobius, as I said earlier, was one of my first 10 subscribers. So I don't know. I guess I feel a little loyalty to him. I mean, him and Bear can fight. I tried to talk them out of it. They didn't want to. So there you go. I mean, I did what I could. And if that means like what was said, Bear said, well, Mobius can have this channel. He'll just go somewhere else. I mean, I can't do anything about that. I will say though, Bear and I had a lot of fun. And some of the streams with Bear, Shadow, and myself and like whoever were some of the most fun that I ever had online. You know, because we just be talking shit. And it was just, I think you've been on some of those, Dean, and it was just fun. But I'm not going to fret about it. If Bear ever wants to be on the stream again, I would let him. And I hope him and his fellow Canadian brother can get along at some point. I mean, that's where I am. That's where I am with this whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
I wish that everybody could get along, except for Max Lau. He don't need to get along because he's a filthy Capellan. You know, this freaking Capellan.
It was only a matter of 2 hours before we had our first Capellan slur.
Yeah.
What's a Capellan?
It's a
one of the 5 great houses from the Secession Wars in Battletech is the Capellans.
James will try to tell you all the stuff about the Capellans and all the stuff about
and
the
Max
other
Lau
great houses.
was the name of one of the leaders of the Capellan polity, which is also known as House Lau, because they're basically the monarchy that rules, right? And they are a bunch of true scumbags. Like, there is nothing in the lore positive about them. But Max took that name. And since me and other people like Mike and Razor Fist, we're all Free Worlds League, you know, the Purple Bird. Yeah, we don't like those guys. According to the lore, our nation and their nation is constantly at war whenever we're not having a civil war in our nation, which is all the time. So, you know, because that's House Merrick's really the one thing that sets House Merrick aside from every other house is constant rebellions within House Merrick and fighting wars against the Capellans.
So who's the Combine guys? I heard something about the Hunger likes them, and they will both choose the option of honor and genocide.
The Draconis Combine is based on Bushido era type Japan, except with giant stompy mechs. And yes, they are the first ones to genocide anybody. And yeah, I think they were supposed to be the bad guys of the game.
Yeah.
But everyone loves them. So it didn't work out. Like my brother has almost a battalion of good night. I'll catch you later, bro. But yeah, see down here, I mean, no one, white people don't say they're Irish American unless you are actually asking them their ethnicity. Usually no one brings that shit up because no one really cares. You see a white dude.
The only people that really give a shit about that are the guys in the 5 boroughs. Right.
I mean, it's like whatever. But so, yeah, that's basically the thing. And so in any time possible, I will snipe at Max about that. But in reality, I really like Max and I really like his wife, Noro, as well. They're great people. And yeah, I like them. I don't watch his show as much as I should, but I'll be honest with you because I've already told Max I preferred his show when it was more free form and he was ranting all the time about shit. But right now, the way he does his show is it's a lot more orderly and they stay on topic always. And I don't know, it's just not my thing unless I like the topic.
It's a product. Their show is a product, and it's a good product for the community because the rest of us, we just turn on the camera like, woo, live show.
And like he, in a way, is like also Diversity and Dragons. See, they actually care about the product they're putting out. So they work hard to make it the best it can be. Whereas someone like me, I'm just coming on here to bullshit around with some of the bros about whatever. And have a good time while I'm painting great white sharks, you know, from Reaper Bruce, by the way. And I decided to use like that color blue on him. And then for my giant grouper, I went with a turquoise, but I'm also going to give him a green wash. So he'll be kind of a green blue.
I don't know if I like that grouper or not. I've got it. I've got the shark too, but I don't know if I like that grouper. If I have a grouper, I want it to be able to swallow an ogre.
Well, Bruce, I told you the ones that actually live off the coast of Florida are about twice that big.
Yeah, I know. And I'm so disappointed.
For that to be a giant, it's not even as big as the ones that live off the coast here.
I mean, there might be able to get a halfling if it's lucky, but it's not big enough. That grouper is like a baby. It's a wee baby.
It's a wee baby. Same here, Chardonnay. I mean, this is about the size of the colossal Atlantic grouper that they pull out from under a pier. I mean, if you're thinking it's like 6 or 7 feet long,
yeah.
But they've seen them like more out towards the Atlantic. There's certain areas where there's like wrecks and reefs and shit.
Yeah.
And divers have filmed these bastards 10 feet long.
10 feet, 12 feet long, easy.
Yeah, like, so literally, if they weren't basically just chill animals, they could eat you. You know, they're as big as a Volkswagen. Whereas if you think about, though, this great white, that's kind of a younger great white. Like the one great white they're following, Deep Blue, is 30 feet long.
Yeah.
This is not 30 feet. You know,
no, maybe 20, but
this guy's like maybe 12, 15, which is still dangerous. I mean, it's still.
Hold on. Put up a surfer scale next to that shark.
All right. So I will grab another Reaper miniature, and so here you've got a guy standing next to it.
Okay, so yeah, about.
So this guy is basically about 13 feet. If this is a 6 foot tall guy, if he's 5.5, then you know. And like I said, still a nipple leg off or an arm off, no problem. But definitely not Jaws, because the shark that they used for Jaws was supposed to be like 30 something feet long. And they thought those weren't even possible, but then they found Deep Blue, who is a very, very old great white female, and she is fucking massive. Like, not orca massive, but, you know, because the thing is, people don't know how big an orca is until you, like, see one. And then you realize it's as big as a school bus. You know, it's like 30-some feet long and smart and got a mouthful of foot-long teeth.
Yeah, I've seen an orca at SeaWorld. It was about 12 foot, but they have the small orcas there.
Yeah, that must have been a baby because they get big, and great whites are terrified of them.
Yeah.
If orcas show up in a hunting ground and the great whites, one of them gets whacked by an orca, the great whites will literally leave that area for like a year. Because orcas like to hit sharks and basically knock them out and then pull their livers out.
Yeah, the liver's
the shark liver, but they won't eat any other part of the shark. So now you got this shark laying in the ocean with no liver. Probably not a good way to die. I don't know if they even feel pain, but still. Yeah, orcas can open them up like a freaking surgeon and just pull the liver out.
Yeah, orcas are vicious.
I know in Italy they're ripping the transoms off of sailboats and shit because it's a game. One of the orcas decided to invent that game off the coast of Italy. You know, tear the back end of a sailboat off, and they do it. They're not trying to kill the human, but they'll just run up and just pull the whole back of a sailboat off. And then there was another group of orcas that were all wearing dead fish on their heads. And no one, it's like one of them said, "Hey, check me out. I got like a dead fish on my head." And the other one's like, "We're going to do that too," because they're very smart. And yes, Chardonnay, I agree. I miss the Friday night free-for-all. Max would just go nuts and we'd all drink. And those were good times.
Yeah,
me and Janet. Connor would be talking mad shit in chat. I mean, it's just good times, you know.
Janet's political show kind of has me sad because Janet has her like 12 things she wants to watch, and I come in like, "Hey, I have this thing. I think you'd like to watch it." And she's like, I don't got time for that now. I want to talk about this politics and bullshit. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I sent her some links to some movies that she had expressed a little bit of interest in that are free on YouTube. But I don't know if she ever watched them. I mean, Janet will pop in and say, hey. And once or twice, she's actually gone on the panel and chatted about stuff. But like you said, she's usually just busy doing stuff, you know.
Right now, I think her family's waiting if her father's going to die today or later tomorrow. Her dad's in real bad shape.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they got the hospice care taking care of him.
There's prayers that she, you know, gets through this. I mean, that's tough, you know. But yeah. What else can I say? Well, Hyperborea is the best version of D&D currently available. I can say that now.
Okay, it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. You just now mentioned that.
No, I mentioned it earlier too, before you joined. But now that I've been running it like multiple months, and I've seen character progression and how encounters work and stuff, I can now confidently say that it is probably the best role-playing game based on Dungeons and Dragons in existence.
Wait. When you say Dungeons and Dragons, are you talking about D&D from post 1999?
I'm talking about TSR D&D.
Okay, because there's two versions of D&D out there. There's two versions. One of them is good.
TSR and not TSR.
Yeah. I gotta go, guys. I gotta get some sleep. God bless y'all. Thank you so much.
Bye, Bruce.
Salute, Bruce.
Good, sir.
But yeah, if you're into old school D&D, Hyperborea is that, except the rules are better because they've actually, but it's still old school. Like there's still like an attack matrix, but it never changes. They handle your character's combat ability different. You get a fighting ability that goes up as you level, and that's your modifiers. The saving throws are done differently, better in my opinion. I like all the classes. Magic is typically way more powerful than in AD&D. Like when you compare like hold magic and Hyperborea to hold person in like AD&D or any of that, it's like night and day, you know. And mages just get innate abilities that they can do. Every kind of mage has, like the Cryomancer in my group, he can summon an icicle that emits light like a torch. He can shoot shards of ice like magic missiles, but he's got to roll to hit. They can use a lot more weapons. Like a starting mage, some of them can use like swords, freaking bows. And then when they hit level 4, they can pick any weapon and become proficient with that weapon. So in theory, you could get a mage to level 4 and pick longbow. And then have this mage kind of hanging out in the background with a freaking longbow, plinking people, you know? And there's just a lot of stuff like that. It's just, you know, like everything that Shadow complains about when he and I are talking, AD&D getting wrong, Hyperborea fixed. And
I mean, it's so it's not easy to design a system from the bottom up or just like from mostly the bottom up, but it is a little easier to fix things.
Yeah, and supposedly Jeffrey Tolarian or whatever, the guy that wrote it, I always, when I read it, I think AD&D, but according to him, he based it on original D&D.
Oh yeah, so OD&D or the
right
white box.
And yeah, same here, Shardazar. Used to. If I play like official TSR D&D, it's AD&D, first edition, with the Dungeoneer and Wilderness Survival Guides added. And if somebody wants to play a Cavalier or a Monk, fine.
I don't allow bards. I hate bards.
I would allow bards if you use the alternate bard where it's just a dude at level 1 and a bard. But the weird like level 8 fighter, level something thief, level something druid is pretty off the chain.
Yeah, for me the bard, my issue with it has always been that like they can't decide if it's a troubadour or if it's actually a servant of a crown or a druidic circle.
Right. And originally the bard was not a troubadour. He was like a servant of a druidic circle.
Yeah. And then later they just handweighted it and make it a magical troubadour, which is an archetype. It's just unfortunate that that now that's the bard.
So maybe what they should have done is had 2 classes, a bard and then a troubadour.
Yeah.
And the troubadour would be all about music, and the bard would be all about remembering the sagas or eddas or whatever, you know. So the bard would be more like the Celtic bard or the Norse skald.
Yeah.
And then the troubadour would be what people think a bard is.
Yeah.
In Hyperborea, the bard is a thief class, and it's basically a thief that has some martial versatility and can use both ecclesiastical, which means cleric, and thaumaturgical spells. So it is literally a character that kind of can do a little bit of every other character archetype shit. Just not as good as the actual. So yeah, they can fight, but they're not as good at fighting as a fighter, and they can cast magic, but not as good as a cleric or a mage. And they can do thief shit, but not as good as a thief. So if you want to play a character that can kind of do a little bit of everything, that's what a bard is. And in Hyperborea, the main god they worship is Azathoth. Is very common for bards since they're into like chaos and all that shit. So yeah, they like to worship, you know, the idiot god. But yeah, they've got to mesmerize, inspire allies. They know folklore. They get a bonus to their dex stats. They have hit die, pretty decent fighting ability, honestly. And then they get druid and illusionist spells as they level up.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know, guys. I'm not thrilled about the bard. Never have been. Pain in my ass. But worst part about it is these guys, they start to make rhymes and start to sing at the table. I'm just like, shut up. I don't want to hear.
What, you don't want them to quote Slayer?
No. God. Rather get onto the fighting and describing what's going on and, you know, watching beer bottles fly or beer mugs fly across the bar and hit them in the head.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the bard and in Hyperborea, and it's 100%. They just stuck a little bit of the abilities from every other archetypical class, cleric, whatever, and they said, okay, here you go. I mean, the fact they get hit die though for a thief subclass, that's really good. Because I think most of them are die 6. Let's see, the assassin, yeah. We've got the assassin, which one of my players is an assassin. And man, she's neutral because they have to be either evil or neutral.
Yeah.
And that, like, they get their backstab, right? When they backstab somebody, depending on their level and the level of the person they backstab, they roll on this damn chart, and if they roll under the number or whatever, the dude just dies.
Yeah. And James, do you know why assassins are so deadly?
You're going to tell me a joke, aren't you?
I am. Because they contain ass, sass, and sin.
That makes sense.
I know you still need an ass to make the joke work, but all the letters are there.
Yeah, yeah. And they're starting armor class 0 to hit armor class 0 is 19. That's not bad for anyone. They just don't get hit points, and their fighting ability doesn't go up as good as maybe, you would want, but like at level 1, to assassinate a level 1 person, they need to roll 5 or less on a die 20. So that's literally what? 25% chance. Because each number on a die 20 is a 5%, right? But like a level 10 bard is 14 or less on a die 20. So 70% of the time, if you're level 1 and they stab you, you die. And on top of that, the assassin in the group's got this crazy magic item they found from the serpent people. If she rolls a critical hit with this dagger, the opponent has to make a save versus death or immediately get drugged to hell and cannot be reincarnated or resurrected by any means.
I can see why he may have issues with that.
I have no issues with it because...
No, the guy is done to.
Oh, yeah. It literally says that you stab them with the dagger and demons come out of the dagger and drag them to hell. And they're just gone, you know. But now, one thing, people talk about all the subclasses in Hyperborea. It is my opinion, gentlemen, that the actual core classes are better. But, you know, the subclasses can allow you to play something a little different if you want. But like all of the thief subclasses, if you actually want to play a thief, because they're better at being a thief. But then the assassin can assassinate people, but they're not as good at being a thief. And the scout, which is a thief class, is much better at doing outdoors shit because they're basically like a thief version of a ranger, but they're not as good as a thief. Like one of the most powerful characters in my group is Hungar's character. He is playing a basic ranger, or not ranger, cleric. And clerics in this game, like in actual AD&D, are just OP as shit. I mean, they get good hit die. They can wear every armor. They can use really good weaponry. And then at level 3, they're casting a whole person and shit like that. And it's just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, whole person was definitely a spell that was very good back in AD&D and basic.
Yeah, in this game, a whole person doesn't care what level you are, really. It just can only affect 4 people.
Yeah.
And you make a save or you're held for 1 hour. And that is nuts. Because if you hold someone for 1 hour, then you can just coup de grace and they're dead. So, yeah. That's what messed them up in the battle against the serpent people. Is one of the serpent men cast hold person, and 3 out of the 8 party members got held. And one of them was the cleric.
Yeah.
But luckily they have a witch with them, and the witch had a remove curse spell. So she was able to actually negate the whole person with whatever it was. I think remove curse, but whatever it was, we looked it up. It worked. Or if it wasn't supposed to, it did anyway, because I would just said it did. And yeah, but then the assassin snuck up behind a serpent man and tried to stab him, totally missed, and serpent man turned around and did polymorph father and turned her into a rat. She failed her saving throw, so she became a rat. And she was a rat for like a couple hours. So like, and when she turned into a rat, all of her equipment just fell on the ground. So at the end of the combat, the berserker took a big sack she carries and put all of the assassin's equipment in the sack, and then grabbed the rat, and they ran out of the dungeon so that they could try to figure out.
That's a very good friend.
And then when the lady on the way back to town through the desert did turn back into her human form, she's standing in the middle of the desert, just stark ass buck naked.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's standing around, and then the berserker like had to hold up a sheet while she got dressed, because the berserker's a girl too.
Yeah.
And you know.
So, Vic, do you have any game stories from recent games?
Yeah, we've got yesterday or Saturday. We have a player by the name of, or not player, there's a brownie by the name of Knock who joined our party. He was surgically
like a Girl Scout?
No, well, he was surgically altered by mind flayers who rejected his brain matter.
Oh, you mean like the fairy? Okay.
Right. They found his brain matter unpalatable, and so the only thing they managed to do is knock out his ability to say spells and talk. So he's a mute. And well, eventually he attached himself to the Wood Elf Ranger in our party, which was a random roll completely. And then we killed a bad guy later on who had a Ring of a Ram. So now Nock walks around with a Ring of the Ram on, and he's the one who does the knocking on these doors. Because with the Ring of the Ram, you use 3 charges, and it's a stone giant strength. So imagine a little 18-inch brownie walk up to a door, knock on it. They answer it, tell him to bugger off, and he says, knock. Or he doesn't, he just knocks with his ring.
Man.
And he blasts open the door and everybody rushes in. So
yeah,
he's quite the character.
That's
and last game, Nock was attacked by a hobgoblin, and he used 3 charges, and since he has stone giant strength, and if you read the Ring of the Ram, he's got 30-foot range with it. He took out one of the hobgoblins in quite easily fashion. He just wham! We hit him with a 19, and that hobgoblin decided to fly a little bit. So
another thing I love about Hyperborea is you can only be human, and elves don't exist, and fairies are generally evil. And I'm not saying that makes it necessarily better, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Especially since you can be like humans that actually existed. So one of the players in our group is playing a Spartan. So
A what?
Spartan.
Ah, okay.
So he's a Greek from the Isle of Lycodemia. And the story is when the volcanoes on Lycodemia exploded and basically destroyed the Spartan civilization, a lot of them got thrown through time and ended up on Hyperborea. So there is a whole large town that is based on Sparta. And the Hellenistic language, Greek, I mean, is pretty much almost like is common as the common language, which is based on Greek, but it's more of a trade language. So like the Atlantean in my group, the Amazon in my group, and the Spartan in my group, they all speak a variant of Greek, a Hellenistic language. Whereas the Celtic guy, he speaks Gaelic.
Yeah.
And then the Hyperborean speaks Hyperborean and hates everyone. And the Norse woman speaks Ancient Norse and worships Thor and berserks out and tries to kill everyone all the time.
So I have a question. How do they communicate with each other? Like, do they jazz hands? Do they snap their fingers?
They all know the basic common language, which is like a pidgin, almost think of Yiddish but Greek. So it's like a really simplified Greek.
Yeah.
And then like Atlantean is Greek. It's just a dialect. So someone who doesn't speak that dialect is going to have a hard time understanding exactly what they're saying. But they're still the same root language. And you can play in the game, you can play a Saxon, a Dane, a Carolingian, Frank, Roman. I made a Roman fighter just for the fun of it. Gave him like splint armor and a large shield and a short sword and a javelin and some darts. Like I equipped him like a legionnaire. And in the game, there is a town that was started by whichever legion it was, vanished off the face of the earth. Like in real life, one of the legions just vanished.
Yeah.
Well, on Hyperborea, it's because they got thrown through time and space to Hyperborea.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of people that uses that, what do you call it? That Roman legion. I know.
It's like the 8th Legion or whatever.
Yeah.
They were sent to China or something. And
yeah, I know what you call it.
And the people that Conan was kind of based on, but not, the Sumerians. They were fleeing the Huns and the Scythians because they're getting wiped out, which is what actually happened in real life. But in Hyperborea, they ran down through a valley, and when they exited from between those hills, they were in Hyperborea.
Yeah.
Because who knows, one of the greater old ones or whatever decided that would just be the way it is. And then the Siberians, the Yakut, and the Eskimo also ended up in Hyperborea. The Eskimos were all from Greenland. And the Eskimos immediately tried to genocide the Yakut, who are now hiding from Eskimo. And
that sounds very accurate. People underestimate how vicious they actually were, the Inuit and all those up there.
Yeah. Well, Eskimo would include Inuits.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing where, like, instead of just calling them Eskimo as a group, apparently Inuit had turned into the group name, like we call people Slavic.
And right. Really whereas, weird. In fact, there's a difference between a Bulgar, or a Serb, or a Russian, or a Pole.
I get annoyed by these people that are so correct on everything. I got friends that call me a wop. I'm an Italian. Okay, it means without papers. So what? I don't care. They're so thin-skinned. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God. When
you're definitely from the boot Italian, because growing up, I had a friend who was Sicilian, and he was just dark-haired and hairy as an ape. I mean, you know what I mean? It looked like he had a sweater on like all the time.
Yeah.
Rudy, which wasn't his real name or his actual name, but his family come from freaking Sicily, and he was like, looked nothing like you. He was like really dark olive complected with the really black hair and just hairy.
Fun fact, that's also a phenotype in Scotland.
All right. So the Ninth Legion vanished in Scotland. Well, whichever legion it was, and you could be right, Coco, they ended up founding their own little civilization in part of Hyperborea. As did some of the Celts, as did the Cimmerians, now the Eskimos that went there from Greenland all worshipped Cthulhu. And they try to keep it from everyone else that they actually are Cthulhu cultists. But some of them that lived in the city of Zimbala have turned to worshiping Yog, who is in Conan, the god of wild beasts and cannibals. So these Eskimo actually kidnap people in the middle of the night and drag them out and eat them. And that's who my group has been fighting against. And there's also Berbers. And, so basically...
Gentlemen, I got to see you guys later here. I got to go.
I'll catch you later, Vic. But pretty much basically any kind of ethnicity that exists on Earth, you could play in Hyperborea.
Okay.
If you want to be a Zulu or something, you could, do it, knock yourself out.
I feel that's more a Hungar thing, especially if there's a rafter he can hang off.
He went with a 7 foot tall albino with purple eyes that hates everyone.
Yeah. Oh, and real quick, I just realized how bad that sound. When I saying hang off a rafter, I mean like literally by his hand, because he did that in Conan Exiles. So
naked to me.
Yeah.
And I complained to our mom because every time I walked in my house, he was hanging off the freaking roof with a giant dick because our server allowed full nudity.
Yeah.
And so he made his character as freaking African looking as possible and gave him just the biggest unit possible.
Yeah.
And every time he logged off, he'd hang off the roof in my house. So every time I logged on, he was there.
Yeah.
Because when you log off of the game, your body's still there. As a matter of fact, I found out because I was experimenting. One of my buddies went to sleep in my house, and I picked him up and I ran and threw him in a river. And because I wanted to know what would happen. And when he logged back on, he's dead. Because
that is very realistic.
He drowned.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the river. But since Hungar's character was hanging off of this thing, I couldn't move him because he was attached to something.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't even walk into my house without looking at some dude's schlong. It's like
And I can't leave without seeing his ass.
Right. It's just like, this is so. Yeah, I talked to my mom. I was like, hey, let your favorite son know that this shit's out of hand here. You're running my whole house, you know. And then I ran away from them and found a place secret and built a house that they could never find, and I'd never tell them where it was. And you could only get to it through like a hidden elevator that I never let them use.
Yeah.
Because I was tired of that shit. But that's what happens when you're on the server with a bunch of assholes. Even though they're related, you know. Yeah, it wasn't just my brother. It was like a whole troop of assholes. Like when they finally got high enough to discover explosives, they're just running around blowing shit up. And it's like,
oh yeah.
Like, okay. Whereas me, pervert that I am, I basically ran through all the areas where you could enslave people, looking for the hottest, big boobiest chicks I could find and enslaving them, and then making them wear like the dancer's costume and dance in my house. That was my main thing in Conan. Having a house full of hot blondes dancing.
I feel like you also achieved this in real life, but it's in singular.
Well, yeah. I kind of. I mean, we were laughing at her dancing the other day. She dances all the time, actually. Anytime she's in a good mood, she's dancing. But she also took a whole class for a long time on belly dancing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she can belly dance, you know, and all that. But no, I mean, it's like I hate that I love these games so much because I think I don't want people to think I'm just a shill and trying to get them to buy games they don't want. Yeah. That is not what I'm doing. But I do get very enthusiastic and very, very happy when I find something I like and I want to talk about it, you know. And I know there's a lot of people who have subscribed to my channel that went out and they've bought games based on stuff I said, and God, I hope they liked them.
And I like Axe. Yes. Like, I know you didn't I know you didn't review the second edition, but I basically learned about the first edition from you.
I like Axe, and if I ever want to play in a game based on like late period Rome, I would play Axe. But here's my problem with that situation: is Hyperborea lets me do that too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean,
I guess you can say there is no
Adventure Conquer King is
like
great.
Hyperborea.
I love Adventure Conquer King. I love my Conan 2.20 game, but the people at my table will not play it.
Yeah.
So I've only got to run it a little bit for a small group, which was fun because we had a Hyrcanian, a Bosonian, and a person from Zimbabwe. Oh, I went somewhere. My camera is being an ass. Come on, camera. So there's it off.
It's funny that it happened when you said, like it turned black when you said like, oh, and someone from Zimbabwe.
Yeah, because in Conan, Zimbabwe is actually a kingdom.
Yeah.
And so my nephew was playing a hunter from Zimbabwe. And they were all mercenaries in Aquilonia at this keep. And their whole deal was patrolling across the Thunder River, into Pictish lands.
Yeah.
And protecting settlers that were there. And then the adventure I ran, which was a pre-written adventure, is based on an actual R.E. Howard story where the Picts all get together and decide to just wipe everyone out on, the east side or the west side of the river. And the player characters happen to be on patrol. So they have to evade like hundreds upon hundreds of Pictish warriors. And if possible, save the settlers they encounter. Because they're definitely getting hacked to bits.
Was that the adventure from, what do you call it, Conan 2-20? Or am I thinking another one?
The adventure from Conan 2-20.
Yeah.
And it was my brother, one of my friends, and my nephew. They were the only ones who had agreed to play the game. And so I ran that adventure, and then I ran the adventure where they're in the desert and they go into like the ancient city that's full of ghosts or whatever. And then we stopped playing because my nephew decided to go to Italy or some shit. And so, yeah.
But the Italians are already there.
Well, my nephew's dad is very Italian.
Ah.
And his aunt is, or his mom is my aunt.
Yeah.
So he went over there and sent me a bunch of pictures of him hanging out in Rome and all these other places. And yeah, so it was like, damn, cool. I wouldn't want to go to Italy just because I feel like it'd be hot. You know, I have tried to talk my wife into going to like, in Greece, Santorini. I think it is. It's a place where all the houses are painted white and blue. And it's like right by the sea in Greece. I think that'd be nice. And we were going to go to St. Petersburg, but then Russia invaded Ukraine. And so that kind of put a kibosh on that, because we're going to take a tour of St. Petersburg and Moscow and go see all the cathedrals and everything.
Yeah, and you can't really put a rice hat on and be like, hey, we Chinese.
Yeah. Which my niece, she went to Vietnam, and I was a little jealous of that. She got like the full tour and got to see a bunch of shit. And the Vietnamese people are apparently very lovely.
Oh, they
very
are.
Very hospitable people.
And they are, and they also like, they like cooking, which is also why, what do you call it, the government helps fund Vietnamese restaurant and everywhere in the West and so forth. Like, it's a gamble to see if they can get more, what do you call it, tourists in Vietnam.
We have Little Vietnam in Orlando off of Highway 50, because I guess like in the late or mid 70s, when they were airlifting all of our allies out of Vietnam, a shit ton of them decided to settle in Orlando. So you can actually drive through there, and like all the restaurants had the names are in Vietnamese. And so if you like Vietnamese food, we got it in spades and have had it since the 70s. And they're really nice people, and they all speak English, even though, you know, they speak Vietnamese too, a lot of them. Some of them don't. One thing I've noticed about the Vietnamese is they're very hard workers, and they marry into whatever population they move into.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you got the old guy who came directly from Vietnam and his wife, and then you've got like his son who's married to a white girl, and then his other son's married to a black girl. I mean, they just, they're like, yeah, we don't give a shit. We'll marry whoever, you know. And it's like, cool.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, man. Like to see the road in Greece that Emrakil the Chaotic was riding down, laying out fools. Yeah, I know exactly. You're not, see, I know that because that's in the DMG, I think. Emrakil the Chaotic riding down the street on his horse, zapping bastards with probably, I don't know what that spell is. It kind of looked like a ray of death or finger of death or some shit. And he was laying some people out. And if he's casting finger of death, that means he's pretty damn high level. Because I think finger of death might be a ninth level spell or some shit, right?
What would you call a range finger of death? Like one does not touch attack, but you can cast it at range.
Right. I thought finger of death was like that. You point.
I thought like you
die. Or is it power word death where you're like die? And
it's power word death. I was just going to joke that I'm not sure if it's jazz snapping of death or jazz hands of death.
Who knew that you Danes had a sense of humor. I'd always heard Scandinavians had no sense of humor. That's been my experience.
Danes, we have a lot of ironic humor, not in the Reddit sense, but actually in the original sense of the word.
Right.
Which is why we don't get along with Greeks at all.
Okay, I didn't know.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
Know.
So go ahead.
I just said things I didn't know.
But we apparently get along with the Japanese because we have similar, what do you call it, a hierarchy, not as autistic as them, but like we have similar hierarchy respect.
I saw something on the internet, YouTube, I guess. Something happened and Japanese X was bleeding into American X. So Elon had one of his autists make it where X automatically translated everything the Japanese was posting. And then apparently there was like a whole day of an American-Japanese love fest going on.
Oh, it's still going on.
Because apparently Americans and the Japanese just love each other, man. They're on there being like, yeah, you're right.
So what happened is, first up, one of the great things Elon had done with Twitter is actually make the translation function work, even if you aren't allowed to use it in Hebrew anymore. But I digress. And this, what actually happened there was the Japanese started talking about trucks and burgers. And because that got translated, that got into the Americans' feed.
Huh. Yeah, like I said, I haven't been on X in months and months and months. Like if you go and look up my account, Nick Cage Superfan, or it's at Nick Cage Superfan. I don't even remember what before that is. Maybe Constantine. Yeah, I haven't been online in forever.
I will admit, when you said Nick Cage, I thought you meant like the Marvel superhero, like the black guy.
I actually do like. Was his name Nick Cage? I know it's Luke Cage. You're thinking
Luke Cage, yeah, that's my bad then.
And I actually do like him.
Yeah, he's pretty.
And the movie or the TV series they made with him about him, that first season or so was freaking great.
Yeah, I mean that was in general what do you call it about all their shows. You can say about the problem with Iron Fist, other than like they could have gotten a person that basically he relied too much on a stunt guy to do his martial arts. And then also the problem with
CW superhero shows or whatever were actually good for at least the first season.
Yeah, and then the other issue with Iron Fist, the Netflix show was it was basically a crossover show. It was not an Iron Fist show.
Yeah,
it was there to advance the plot of the other shows.
I know Daredevil was really good, and the Punisher made an appearance in Daredevil, and then he had his thing for a minute, and they had the guy who played the dude that shot the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket playing Kingpin, and that dude nailed Kingpin. He was so good.
Oh yeah. I know he's technically weren't Kingpin yet, but the character
D'Onofrio, that's that actor's name. So yeah, I can't. I'm not going to talk any shit about those shows when they were first put out because they were good. Yeah. But like Green Arrow, over time it just sucked more and more and more. And the Flash was good, but then as it went on, it just started sucking, and I just started hating it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly,
it was a little blonde girl that made me hate the Flash, I think.
Okay, that's also fair. You didn't like a specific character / actress, but
no, it wasn't that I disliked her because she was okay in the beginning. But as the thing went on and she started getting more and more airtime, she became more and more annoying.
Okay.
Because I was like,
what happened with those shows is basically they got new writers and they was from the school of social justice.
Yeah, the Green Arrow had a lot of that towards the end, and I just stopped watching it. Punisher was freaking great, and it had the guy from like The Walking Dead as the Punisher. I don't know his name, but damn, he was kicking ass as the Punisher. He really was
all right, yeah. You can argue it. I really like that show too, and it was definitely on the all right spectrum, which is good for me. The only thing I was really like, if I wanted to nitpick, is I think they could have done the Punisher versus what do you call it, Daredevil fight a little better, like make it more believable for me that he got Daredevil.
Yeah, but
that's the only thing I didn't like.
I'm just saying, like you said, those shows were all pretty good in the beginning, and then they just kind of fell off. And for me, it's even harder for the studios because I am by nature not a superhero fan anyway.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, the fact that I like the shows at all kind of shows that they were pretty good shows.
Yeah.
Because I don't even like superheroes, but those shows were pretty good.
I mean, for me, my exposure to superheroes since comics for me was more like Donald Duck and the superhero version of Donald Duck comics.
Right.
So my exposure were more like the 90s cartoon, which were way better than they have any right to be. Also Batman Beyond.
Right. I liked Batman Beyond. The original X-Men cartoon was badass.
Yeah.
Although there was a thing I didn't was badass.
Although there's a thing I didn't know what do you call about the original X-Men cartoon because I saw it dubbed, like I saw it in Danish. Is that Wolverine really shits on what do you call it, a Gambit? Like the way he say Cajun actually make it sound like a slur.
Yeah, in the comic books, I know at some point they become buddies.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, Wolverine is a douchebag.
Oh yeah.
One, he's like hundreds of years old.
Yeah, he's the biggest.
He's trying to get with his bro's girlfriend right in front of his face. He just does not give a shit what Professor X has to say about anything. And he's got little man disease because he's like 5'4". It's like Cyclops probably should have just blew that asshole up.
Yeah. I think the best version of Wolverine I've seen in an animated show was X-Men Revolution, where basically they're teenagers except for, of course, Xavier and Storm and like Wolverine. And Wolverine, first off, he doesn't have a romantic subplot with Jean Grey. But he's actually like a big brother mentor type to Scott. And that's like really a great version of Wolverine / the X-Men.
Yeah, that I mean, so many people were like super. Now, my brother's favorite character was Klaus, I think. Is it Klaus or Hans? What's his name? Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler is the guy who looks like a devil character.
Right, and he's German, and he like worked in a circus or some shit, and he can teleport around. And back in those days, my favorite X-Man was Rogue.
Yeah.
I thought Rogue was the most badass. I mean, what's Wolverine going to do to Rogue? Die. You know what I mean? Because she'll just fly up. All she's got to do is pull the gloves off and fly up and grab him. He's done.
Yeah. I mean, the Rogue they had in, what do you call it? The X-Men animated show was basically the one who has grabbed a bit too hard on forgot what the other superheroine is called. It's the one that Miss Marvel. There we go. She basically grabbed onto Miss Marvel long enough that Miss Marvel was in a coma for the longest time, and Rogue just kept having those powers.
Right. She took some powers from Wolverine too at one point, and she got regeneration. And the first boy she ever kissed almost died. So, I mean, Rogue's story is kind of sad because she can never touch anybody. But I liked her because the character they got to do her voice did that Georgia Southern Belle voice really well.
Yeah.
And they didn't care back then in the original animated that Rogue had a big ass. It was like okay for her to have a big ass. And
both her and Jean, definitely were knocked down in a certain position to, show the ass.
And like in the new remake, they made sure to give her like a flat ass and not really very much on the chest either. And it's like, why are these assholes so intent to make every woman on everything as mid or ugly as possible? You know?
Meanwhile, they keep making the guys more muscular and give them less clothes.
Right. Like people bitch about it, and it's like, look at He-Man. He's literally running around in a loincloth.
Yeah.
You know, just buffed out. No one says a damn word. But if you give a woman anything bigger than like an A cup, everybody loses their fucking mind.
Yeah.
And here's what the craziest bit is, Dean. And I'm going to leave here in a second because we're getting late. But
yeah, we're almost 3 hours.
I have played MMOs where I had like scores of women in the guild. In Dark Age of Camelot, I had 180 people in my guild that I ran. Me and my wife ran it. And not a single one of them had an ugly character.
Yeah.
We played on the realm of Hibernia, so we were Celts mostly and elves. And we were fighting the Vikings and the British. And every female character in that game, in my guild, or that I ever ran across, was absolute knockdown gorgeous.
I mean, that is a typical thing
with
that like
giant tits and nice ass. I mean, and the characters, everything was sliders.
Yeah.
So if you had some chick run around with like triple D's or some shit, she chose that. That was what she chose. And I'm only counting the women that got in my team speak that I know for a fact were women.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's always guys out there doing some shit.
Yeah, beauty is still a female power fantasy.
And it's like, so then they make video games where the female characters are all super ugly. And then people say, well, you know, that's what you get when you hire female writers. But I'm like, in my experience, I have never met a female gamer that wanted to play an ugly game. It has never happened. Not in D&D. My wife's character is, the way she describes her, she's like this hot Dane, you know, that's like tall. She's like 6 foot something with long blonde or red hair, I forget. And she worships Thor, and she likes to berserk out.
Yeah.
Foam at the mouth and kill everything, because that's what she is. She's a Norse berserker, and she worships Thor. And the other woman that's playing the possibly lesbian Amazon, she's this tall, gorgeous Greek woman, you know, well built and all this stuff. And boy, sometimes role playing against NPCs, they lean into the sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, the Amazon does for sure. Like, she'll lean in and tell me she's specifically trying to show off her cleavage while she's talking to the merchant and shit.
Also, what do you call it? Okay, now it is a back case where I don't remember what the characters are, but are some of the most legendary female characters in video games were actually designed by women in Japan.
Yeah,
and you hear
women in
like
Japan make beautiful characters, though.
Yeah.
You can tell by if you've ever played like Final Fantasy when the graphics that good. Like, all the women in that game are absolutely gorgeous. If you like the Final Fantasy MMO, every one of the women except for those little ones, I didn't care for them because you know, I just punt those little bitches. But like all of the normal women characters, they were all just amazingly hot. Because the women playing them and the men playing them made them that way. Because, you know, they wanted their avatar to be like, I mean, because I know, like me, when I made my Celtic hero, that was the class hero. I did not sit down and say, let's make a fat dude with gray hair. Well, back then I didn't have gray hair. But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I made a dude who was like 6.5 feet tall, muscled up, you know, handsome, had the blue war paint because I was a Celt.
Yeah.
And not that you could see my muscles because I was always wearing freaking the heaviest armor I could get as a fighter. But, and my wife, she was playing a tall Celtic woman with like blue, you know, like the Irish knotwork stuff. And
I mean, like I said before, both men and women have power fantasies, and the women's is basically yes, I'm beautiful, yes, I'm
Well, the other thing
I
is
can't have in real life.
Women, and of course, this is super broad brush. So anybody who hears this in the future, before you freak the hell out,
It's too late now.
women love playing healers.
Playing what?
Healers.
Oh yeah.
Like in Dark Age of Camelot, all of the actual real women that I knew, none of them played fighters. Not one. They either played some kind of ranged blaster, like a void mage or some shit like that, or a healer. You know, a druid.
Yeah.
Which was our brand of healer, was a druid or a bard, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost as if they have, one, the desire to be physically beautiful, and two, some kind of nurturing instinct. And which I was lucky, because my wife happened to be probably one of the best druids on the whole server.
That's great.
And keeping my ass alive in the middle of a mass combat is not easy.
So you're saying she had some practice before you two got married?
Yeah, because in that game, I had a tendency of overextending.
Yeah.
Like if I got on somebody's ass, I was on their ass. And my wife had a macro set up, because you could use macros in DOC, where she would like target me and hit the macro, and then it would say in game in the chat, Conkabar, you are out of my healing range. And then that way I'd see that pop up, and I'd be like, oh shit, and then I'd run back to where she was. And she was awesome at the ninja res too. Like if I got killed outside of the tower, she could jump off the tower, hit the res spell, and then get in the tower before the res spell would go off, and then I would res in the tower.
That's pretty great.
Oh, my wife was amazing at that MMO. I mean,
also,
people fought to get her in their group to do raids and shit, because she was just renowned on the whole Palmighty server as one of the best druids in our realm. Like when the one power group got together and they started farming the dragon, she was always the one they would call.
Yeah.
You know, and then she always PvP'd with me. So she went up PvP ranks really quick, because as my healer, she got a portion of the realm points that you get every time I killed someone.
Yeah.
And my character was designed to just take on a group by himself. I had the best gear, because I had a whole guild that did nothing but farm gear and then give me the best gear.
So James,
yeah,
I have a way to. I know this is gonna sound like a joke, but it's also kind of serious. So, speaking of X-Men and the female power fantasy,
right?
There's a thing I really wish they would stop doing. Basically, giving Storm, what do you call it, a punk haircut, because her hair is already the power fantasy of black women.
Right. And yeah, that's a new thing. We're like half her head shaved or some shit. Because the original animated Storm had like long flowing white hair.
Yeah, and she had that in any edition, or like when she used her powers, it went up to a comb, but it was still like long and flowy.
Yeah, she'd be floating in the air doing her thing, and her hair would be like whipping around and yeah. Like I mean, Mystique was beautiful.
Yeah.
If it was ever her you were looking at. And the White Queen, I think that's DC, but still, she was beautiful. And Miss Marvel and Power Girl, they were all like amazing, beautiful women.
Oh yeah, Power Girl definitely. What to say?
Well, yeah, Power Girl's the one that had the boob window.
And even without the boobs, like she has like. I know some people don't like short hair, but the way she has it fits really great.
Well, she had the blonde bob, and some women can really pull a bob haircut off. The Mohawk was an 80s comic book thing. See, Coco,
yes, but it comes and goes.
Remember, I am, like I said, Coco, I never read superhero comics. Everything I know about Marvel, I learned from watching the animated show that came on back in the 80s. So, yeah, you can correct me and you can be 100% right, and I won't even argue, because the only comic books I ever bought were The Tick, Poison Elves, Savage Sword of Conan, and that's it. That's it.
And but yes, Coco, I know the Mohawk thing was an '80s thing, but it comes and goes, and I just wish it would start coming back.
Yeah, I don't think she had the Mohawk in the original animated series, and that's the one I remember.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
but,
we are.
but I mean, the point stands. What we're talking about, even with the Mohawk, Storm was still hot.
Oh yeah.
You know, she was still like built and hot. Hell, and in the movie when they cast what's her name, the model, she was still hot.
Halle Berry.
Yeah, she's still hot. You know, it's like, yeah, that's a good Storm right there.
Halle Berry, she was a great Storm, but I really feel bad for her about the script she had to work with for Catwoman.
Oh, they screwed her on that one. Yeah, but they screwed my girl. What's her name? Michelle Pfeiffer. When she played Catwoman, it was so effing lame. It's like, come on. I mean, you know, that might be before your time, Dean, but
yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer's probably 70 years old, but way back in the day when she was in like Lady Hawk and all that stuff, I had a mad crush on her. She was just amazing. And I loved Lady Hawk. It was like her and what's his name? The guy who played the main Roy Batty in Blade Runner. What is it? Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
So you had beautiful Michelle Pfeiffer, badass Rutger Hauer, and then skinny ass little Ferris Bueller guy running around like medieval France or something, getting into trouble. And if you've never seen the movie Lady Hawk, it's kind of dated, but definitely worth a watch. You know.
Yeah. Roger Howard. What is that? What his name was?
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah,
I think
he's really great. Basically, ironically enough, he could play both the antagonist and the protagonist because he's a really great, what you call it, noir actor.
Yeah.
Like basically, every time someone makes a noir thing where he maybe doesn't need to go on screen, they hire him.
Well, I mean, there was a period in the 80s and maybe early 90s where Rutger Hauer was putting out a lot of movies and they were good.
Yeah.
And he was even putting out some B movies and they were still good. It was like, I mean, he's just a good actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a good actor, but he generally almost always played like a bad guy or an anti-hero or something, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah. Basically, yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. I liked Rutger Hauer. He was in one where he played a blind guy that was really good with sword, you know, and he's in a post-apocalyptic one where they played some kind of like football type game. I mean, he was in so many like movies, and he was just good actor.
Okay. So the video game I was thinking of, I'm gonna say this real quick, is one called Observer. It's a Polish game released like in 2017, and they have him as the voice protagonist. If you like what you call it, puzzle investigation games, it's a good fit.
Well, that's
sorry. Cool. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, well, I guess I loathe Broderick. Well, see, in Lady Hawk, he's kind of comic relief-ish, and he doesn't actually matter. So even though you hate Matthew Broderick, you probably would still like Lady Hawk, because it's mostly about Michelle Pfeiffer and Rutger Hauer. But there's the main bad guy is like a famous guy too. I mean, it's got a stacked cast and this was during a time when like no one was making fantasy movies because people didn't believe fantasy movies could make money.
Oh yeah.
And whoever went out and decided we'll make this movie, and I don't think it did very well, but it was definitely like a cult classic, kind of like The Princess Bride, how it was a total flop in movie theaters, but it became the most rented movie of all time for a while. Like when people could rent VHS things in America. Yeah, Princess Bride.
Oh, I remember VHS, and I remember renting them.
Right. And Princess Bride was like the most rented movie for like ever.
I mean, the Princess Bride also has the advantage that, like, okay, there are maybe girls who haven't grown up with it, but then they hear it from like women or other girls who are older than them, and they watch it and they still like it.
Well, it's the perfect fantasy story. I actually owned the book. I might still own the book, and they only changed like one thing, and it wasn't even important. And it's perfect. The bad guys are definitely bad, and the good guys are, for the most part, really good. And then you've got this true love angle and pirates. It's like what the little kid said. It's got pirates and sports and sword fighting and fencing and all of that. Selling and climbing. I mean, that story literally has everything. And then you watch the movie, and I think it's Peter Falk reading it to a very young Savage, and it's like, yeah, that's just a good story, man.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene in that movie, and I know he said like he swapped the glasses twice because he knew the Sicilian guy was gonna swap the glasses, but I always like to think that like it was the poison he handed to him that was odorless that actually killed him, not whatever was in the glasses.
Well, what it actually was is that Wesley put iodine powder in both chalices.
Yeah.
Because he had spent all that time in Australia developing an immunity to iodine.
Yeah.
So both that was the whole thing. But what's his name that played the Sicilian? Inconceivable. And then you had the guy that played Inigo. That word, I do not think it means what you think it means. Surely it's just a fisherman out in ill-infested waters in the middle of the night.
But yeah, I know that's the reason that I just like to think it was the thing he handed him to smell that actually killed him. Because that's funnier.
But that is the one thing they changed. There were no giant man-eating eels in the book. It was sharks. But when they made the movie, they decided to make it eels.
Yeah.
And who cares? It was great, did I mention that your job is on the line? And he's like, come on, what's his name? And the Enzio or whatever, he's catching you. And Andre the Giant, well, I'm carrying 3 people. He only has himself. It's like, and then he go, I think I'll fight him left-handed. Otherwise, he'll be over too fast. And it turns out they're both effing with each other. And I mean, I need to go because
that's fair.
Or Princess Bride is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And if you get me going on about all the little bullshit in that movie, man, we'll be here all night. We've been on 3 hours. But Dean, thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure to see you, bro. And
you're welcome. I'm surprised the last so long, considering my brain is cooking right now. Not in the dangerous way, it's just having a fever.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, man. A fever?
No. That was my own choice. It's nothing to do with feeling stuck here or anything like that.
And all you Canadians, the few of you that showed up tonight, because always Canadians, I appreciate it. And I love you guys. And, I like your country too. I like it so much, it'd be ashamed if something happened to it. Like the mob. Nice country you got here. Be ashamed if something happened to it. Now, I do wish that idiot that you guys, not you guys, but people in your country elected, I think it's pretty crazy that he's like, well, if America invades Greenland, we might have to shut up. If we invade Greenland, you're going to sit there because there's nothing you can do. And I'm not even trying to be mean. It's just.
That isn't the unfortunate thing about Canada is then for political reason, they never built up like an industrial base. They're like a resource economy. And the second thing is they get the majority of their military components from the U.S. So,
yeah, like they've got one submarine that barely works. Everything they own is like shit we used 20 years ago. I mean, I have no doubt that the soldiers are probably well-trained, capable men, but there comes a point where the technological gap is just going to make it unnecessary. But
yeah,
I mean, Greenland's going to end up leasing themselves to us for like 99 years or some shit. I think they already held like some kind of vote in Greenland.
I haven't been following it.
Yeah, they've determined that they definitely don't want to be part of Denmark, but they don't maybe want to be part of America either.
That's Greenland in a nutshell. Yeah.
So
Not
what
so much
may end
their
up happening is we'll just
they
lease.
kind of want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, we'll just lease bases and pay them a bunch of money because, you know, and that's cool because if the EU wants to be a bunch of dicks, we can just move all of our bases to Greenland and to other friendly countries and let Europe just do whatever it wants to do with itself. Because, yeah, you know, but the country didn't elect him. Yeah. You know what? Bear explained that to me too. How like there's like one little area that dominates. We have the same kind of thing here, but luckily we have the Electoral College to balance it out. Because in America, if you remove the Electoral College, every president would be picked by California and New York. And that would just be it. California and New York, throw Chicago in there. Because for whatever reason, cities are blue and rural areas are red.
Okay, I think I'm gonna head out. It was nice being on your show, James.
Oh man, I always love having you here, man. I'll talk to you later. And I'm ending it too, but I just want to respond to Coco just because I like and respect Coco. So
that's fair.
And that's why I guess a lot of Canadians that live like in Alberta and shit are always kind of pissed off because Quebec actually determines politics or some shit. So something like that. I won't lie. I don't know. All I know about your country is like back in like the late 80s and 90s, you had strip clubs that were full nudity and the drinking age was 18 and the US dollar was super strong. And you could drive across the bridge from Michigan to like started with a W and spend most of the night drinking and looking at big booby dancers and then go get pancakes. So yeah, Canada was like a magical land back then. You know, it was really cool. You didn't need a passport. You know, you just drive on over and have a great time. A lot of the places actually took American dollars, so you didn't have to. A lot of times you didn't even have to get the money converted. It was just like, I mean, for like an 18 or 19-year-old young man, it was freaking paradise. Is it Winston, Canada? No. Anyway, I'll think about that tonight and I'll remember it, you know, later. But now, just so you guys know, back in the 90s, my favorite hockey team of all time was the Flames, Calgary Flames. And so when I used to play like on the Sega Entertainment System or whatever back in the day, NHL hockey, I always played Calgary. Yeah, the Toronto area. Yeah, it's like Windsor. Yeah. So before I become later a different fan of different, and hockey's the only sport I actually like and will watch. Because I don't even watch American football anymore, and I hate soccer. I can't stand it. It's boring. And I only watch baseball if I'm actually going to the park to watch it. I can't watch it on TV. I can't believe people watch golf on TV. It's like, how boring is your life that you're watching golf? But I love hockey. Calgary was my team forever. And then I become a Bruins fan, even though they sucked. And now I have been supporting the Florida team for like since we've had one. And amazingly enough, our team has been pretty damn good. Florida has been pretty damn good. But we also have the money to hire all the best players down here. So that's a thing. But yeah. So I mean, for what it's worth, guys, one thing me and every Canadian probably can agree on is we love hockey. You know, it's a great sport, maybe the best. You know, maybe the best. And one of my best friends of all time lived in Calgary, and he was such a good guy. He passed, but that's the problem. When you're in your 50s, you start knowing more people who've died than who are still alive. But anyway, Coco, thank you for joining me. And I guess just so you know, Coco, and whoever else is here, I'm not mad at Bear at all. And honestly, I don't even think he was mad at me. And I wish he would come back, because some of the best times I've ever had bullshitting around on this channel is Baron Shadow and me. I mean, that was the team for a while, man. We were just having a good time, and then, you know, shit happens. But, you know, I don't hold any grudges against anyone, you know, so I would let Condor come on for a little while if he behaved. And I have had Scott Garby on, and we had a good time bullshitting around. I mean, he might be crazy as a shithouse rat when it comes to his theories on D&D, but he's a nice guy. So, yeah. So just so all the Canadians know, I don't hate Bear, but I also like Mobius, and I'm not going to choose. I'm not going to choose between them. They can figure it out themselves, but I'm just not going to get in the middle of their shit. I just really wish they could figure it out themselves. So there you go. That's all I got to say. And if Bear ever hears this, I hope he takes that into consideration, you know.